Namaste, welcome to TeluguOne. I am Vivek Narsimham. Today we are going to deal with a special topic of Jammu and Kashmir. As we all know, India is very rich in culture and at the same time it has got the scenic beauty also. When it comes to the tourism, Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir stands number one as it is called the heaven on earth. But is the present generation or from the past 30 years, are we enjoying the scenic beauties of Jammu and Kashmir? What is the situation of Jammu and Kashmir being called as heaven on earth? Are we safe or what are the situations there? We do have a lot of YouTube channels, we do a lot of information, but today we are going to present you from the horse mouth the real situations and facts of Jammu and Kashmir. Let us invite today's guest, an eminent personality, Mr. Lalit Kumar Kaul, who is son of Manohar Lal Jan, who is a resident Kashmirian. He is a Kashmiri Pandit. He did his schooling from Srinagar, college from Srinagar, IIT Kharagpur. He has done his PhD. So here we invite the special guest of the day, Mr. Lalit Kumar Kaul. Welcome, sir.
Thanks,
it's nice to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Sir, as I said, Kashmir is supposed to be heaven on earth, but of late, especially I think if your last 30 years, it is in the news for other things. So can you please start us explaining what is the genesis of this Kashmir issue?
You see, it all started with the Jinnah's Muslim League for creation of Pakistan. When Mr. Jinnah raised the demand for pious place for Muslims, Pakistan, he excluded princely states from it. That means Muslim majority areas which are directly ruled by British Crown, those areas he wanted to carve out a place for Muslims. His philosophy was that Hindu infidels cannot rule over Muslims. And one of the reasons was that Muslims had ruled Hindus for nearly 1,000 years. And the religious touch was that believers, as Muslims, cannot be ruled by infidels and non-believers. So that was his basic demand, based on which Pakistan was created. If you look at the map of Pakistan and if you remove Balochistan from it, which Pakistan occupied after having come into existence, you will see West Pakistan, what we can say, is only a strip. It's like a strip. So when Mr. Jinnah realized that it's a moth-eaten kind of a thing he has got, he started indulging in poking his nose into princely states. And one of them was Jammu and Kashmir. So he started speaking on behalf of Kashmiri Muslims and propaganding that how Pakistan was the safest place for Kashmiri Muslims to live and Muslims of J&K to live. It started from there. That time the ruler was Maharaja Hari Singh and J&K was a princely state. Now under Government of India Act 1935, the princely states had an option. One option was they could opt for India, Dominion. Other was they can opt for Pakistan. Third was they could be independent. So this choice was given to princely states. Now Maharaja Hari Singh signed a standstill agreement with Pakistan, and Pakistan agreed to sign it. India did not agree. India did not sign. The idea of Maharaja Hari Singh was that he should be given enough time to decide where he would go, whether Pakistan, India, or be an independent, and there should be no intervention. Now this was violated by Pakistan by tribal raid of 1947. They call it tribal raid, but it was very well supported by Pakistani army, and Pakistani army was directly involved in it. So when they invaded J&K, princely state, Maharaja Hari Singh found that his armed forces didn't have the capability to match them. And more than that, the Muslims in his army ditched him, betrayed him. So then he sought intervention of India. Then the Indian government and the political leadership that time told him that since J&K was not in India, was not a part of India, India could not intervene. If he wanted India to intervene, then he must accede to India. So then what happened was he signed an instrument of accession with India, which was as per Government of India Act 1935. That means the procedure for accession was also written by British paramountcy. They were written by British. India followed that, some form was to be filled, and it granted a level of autonomy to this princely state, which had acceded to India through instrument of accession. So once that happened, India intervened, it landed its forces in Srinagar airport, and the pushback of these raiders started. Now, Nehruji was not quite happy about the way this was going on. So he wanted a full-fledged attack, full-fledged assault on this army, Pakistani army, and to throw them out. There, Mr. Louis Mountbatten, he got a bit worried. Apprehending that Nehruji may order even attack on Pakistan. So he consulted him and persuaded him to go to UN, telling him that it is the most very strong case India has, and certainly UN will give whatever decision in his favor. And then another advantage would be that it will not explode into a full-fledged war between two new India and Pakistan, which would not be good for any one of the two countries. So it appealed to Nehruji, because the instrument of accession was a legal document. So there was legally it was valid that J&K princely state had acceded to India. There was nothing illegal about it. So he took the case to United Nations. And India went to United Nations with the consent of Pakistan. That is very important. Mr. Louis Mountbatten went to Pakistan and showed them a draft letter from India suggesting that let us go to UN. Because Mr. Jinnah didn't agree to any other way of plebiscite. This issue was taken to United Nations. The United Kingdom, the UK and USA opposed India and even questioned the instrument of accession. That was the backstabbing. So then what happened was that, so India fought that out in the UN about the debates and all that. So when the issue was taken to UN ultimately, what is known as UN resolution. That is the beginning of the Kashmir problem. It was created. It was created by whom? Pakistan. Who violated the agreement, standstill agreement? It was Pakistan. Okay. So basically, if you ask me genesis of Kashmir problem, Pakistan is wholly and solely responsible for Kashmir problem. Based on what? Based on the philosophy that a nation is defined by its religion. Culture is defined by its religion. Politics is defined by its religion. And any other thing that you may have is defined by its religion. Civilization is defined by its religion. That was the thesis of Jinnah. So extending that thesis to Kashmir being a Muslim majority state, he said this should be a part of Pakistan. So he reneged on his promise that as per Lahore Declaration that his interest was not in princely states. That's the number one thing one has to keep in mind. So Pakistan and its leadership, Jinnah, is solely responsible for creating a problem which should have been non-existent had Jinnah not reneged on his words. So once it went to UN brought out a resolution, what is called UN Security Council resolution. For what? For holding a plebiscite in J&K state. Congress had no opposition to plebiscite. International Congress always, by their resolution of 1938, Nehruji was the president of International Congress, they had passed out a resolution that princely states would accede to India only if the people of that princely state want to accede, not the ruler. Yes. This is very important. It was not for the Raja or Maharaja to decide whether that particular princely state should accede or not. It is the people of that state who have to decide.
All princely states?
People have to decide. So that means what? How could that be decided? By plebiscite, by holding a referendum.
Yes.
So International Congress was always for holding a plebiscite. So when people criticize Nehruji, why did he declare that it will be a plebiscite? It was not Nehruji. It was resolution of International Congress who had led the Indian freedom struggle from the front, right? So when UN resolution was brought out, the first step was that status quo ante to be restored in what was known as Pakistan occupied Kashmir, including Baltistan. That means what? The demographic change to the last single person who was not an original resident of POK or GB had to be vacated from there. And once Pakistan says yes, it has accomplished that task, there will be a supervision to find out whether demography has been restored or not. That means what? As it existed pre-14th August 1947. Let us say that. Status quo ante. Having accomplished that, if Pakistan had accomplished that, then India, second step was that India had to reduce its strength of its armed forces in J&K to a bare minimum where it could, which would be sufficient for defending its frontiers. And then a plebiscite would be held under the supervision of United Nations to seek the opinion of people which country they would like to join or be independent. Pakistan never fulfilled the first step. So Pakistan defaulted on UN resolution. Having created the problem, having sought a solution through UN, they defaulted on UN resolution. So that is the issue. Kashmir problem is whole and sole child of Pakistan. And thereafter also, Pakistan has been consistently raising the issue at UN. And consistently its leadership has been getting a reply that you please talk to India. They cannot tell Pakistan leadership that they are defaulted. So that is the basic.
But why is there a wrong notion that Mahatma Gandhi was the reason for partition of India into Pakistan and India, so that he can make Nehru as Prime Minister here and Jinnah as Prime Minister there?
You know one thing, you must read the letters of Mahatma Gandhi. I had, but I have misplaced them. In that, he shows his respect and his admiration for Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose more than Pandit Nehru. Got it? They had their own differences.
Yeah.
But they never defaced or belittled the other person because they respected their particular stand. Everybody was fighting for independence of the country from British rule. So it is very wrong to say that Gandhiji wanted to install Nehruji as a Prime Minister. It is too mean a thing to say.
Correct.
It is on record that Gandhiji failed to impress upon both Jinnah, Nehruji and Patel Sahab that why they should come to a understanding with each other and avoid partition of India. Nobody listened to him. Nobody listened to him. In fact, when he gave a call for Quit India movement, 1942, one of the ladies, I wouldn't like to name her, a very big name, a very big leader, in the Congress Working Committee, she abused Gandhiji. And Gandhiji says that in his address to the people outside. See, the treachery has been done to Gandhiji by these Congress people only. After they realize that this man, old man, has now given a final call for Quit India movement, now he is not required. You can never blame Gandhiji for partition. He failed. Yes, he could not succeed in making Nehruji and Jinnah Sahab to come to some kind of understanding which could avoid partition. Jinnah wouldn't agree because Jinnah was driven by Islam. See, this is fun, people have to understand that. When Jinnah says that Momeens can't be ruled by infidels, how can there be an agreement? That's the worldview of Jinnah. And what is Indian National Congress worldview? A secular democratic nation where multiple cultures, multiple religions, diversity will prosper.
Yes.
With all its limitations, that is fine. How could there be a pact? So Jinnah insisted. So partition was there. Then these people said, let there be a complete partition. That means Lala Lajpat Rai is on record and saying, and many others, great people, that each and every Muslim should be asked to vacate India.
Okay, total.
You have asked for Pakistan, you go. But because Indian National Congress did not have that kind of a worldview to have a homogeneous society, it believed in heterogeneous society, it believed in diversity of culture, of religion, so they didn't enforce that. They said, leave it there. So now, Nehruji, how did he become Prime Minister? That who will decide?
Congress.
That is the dynamics that time. It is very difficult for me, not being a part of that dynamics, not having lived there, not having participated in that It is very unreasonable on my part or anybody who passes a judgment. The fact is Nehruji became Prime Minister and Jinnah became Prime Minister of Pakistan. But people say, had they agreed with Gandhiji, since Jinnah was suffering from terminal disease and he would die within few months, then naturally, in fact, Gandhiji had suggested to them, you make Mr. Jinnah as the first Prime Minister. It is on record. Both Patel Sahab and Nehruji opposed. Now, can you criticize it? I will not. I will not, because I don't measure up to dust of their feet. Way. The kind of people they were, the kind of struggle they launched,
Yes.
I mean, that is on record. So they disagreed. Now then the people say, had they agreed, it's a wish, then there would not have any party. But who knew Jinnah has a terminal disease? His doctor never disclosed that. That is the integrity of his doctor. So partition happened. Nehruji became Prime Minister. Patel Sahab became Home Minister. And Mr. Patel Sahab was Patel. I mean, he was not any other Home Minister of India.
Yes.
He had his own standing. He was known as Iron Man of India.
So after this partition, why Jammu and Kashmir was given a special status?
You have to go back to Government of India Act 1935, Instrument of Accession. And remember, it's a princely state. So when this princely state accedes through an instrument of accession, it has a level of autonomy. It has, which is legal, which you cannot violate. This is fundamental. And India had jurisdiction only in defense, foreign affairs, currency and communications.
Four.
That India had jurisdiction. All other matters related to the state, internal, where India had no jurisdiction. You can read instrument of accession. There is no issue. It is all on record. When J&K acceded, India was going to be a secular democratic state. So where is the role of Maharaja in that? There can't be a Maharaja. There can't be.
Secular word was added at that time only?
No, secular in the sense that it was a secular state.
Was the word there?
It was not religious. Secularism was not there. But was India a theocratic state? Was it supposed to be a religious state?
No.
Precisely. That is why it was a secular state. That means religion will not be mixed with politics. It's a secular state.
That's all. But the word secular was not there at that time.
No, it need not be. Okay. But you see the worldview kya tha? Okay. We want to be a democratic polity where once you say diversity, that means you are allowing people of different faith, belief system to exist. No? So that is being secular.
Yes.
Unlike other religions who don't tolerate other people. So once this happened, now Sheikh Abdullah was the tallest leader in Kashmir who had led the movement against Maharaja Hari Singh. So who has a right to be heading J&K state? It is Sheikh Abdullah. So instrument of accession, with all the special privileges, the limitations of India, were transferred, you can say, as it is on to what was come to know as Article 370 and 35A. Nehruji didn't do anything, number one. Number two, what was the political aim? You must read The Birth of a Tragedy 1947 by Alistair Lamb. You must read. Then you will know how Louis Mountbatten, then Nehruji, and Mr. V.P. Menon and Mr. Shri Dwarkanath Kachru. Dwarkanath Kachru was secretary of Nehruji. V.P. Menon was secretary to Mr. Patel Sahab. How these four saved J&K for you, for India, and ensured that J&K becomes a part of India. These people must read. And since V.P. Menon was a part of that team, and he was secretary to Patel Sahab, that means Sardar Patel had his consent, had given him his consent. You do whatever you want. So that situation, you have to hold on J&K to you. There are so many pulls. If Sheikh Abdullah is asking for a special status, that is my instrument of accession. You retain that. They retained it and gave it a name of Article 370 and 35A. Now, what is this 35A? This 35A was not Pandit Nehru's then gift to J&K. 35A had come into existence when Maharaja Hari Singh was the ruler, and who incorporated it, who struggled for its incorporation, were Kashmiri Pandits and Hindus of Jammu, Dogras. They insisted with Maharaja Hari Singh that you put this Article 35A so that no foreigner, no outsider will be able to buy any property in J&K, and that time all these outsiders were occupying jobs in the secretariat and administration of Maharaja Hari Singh. And these educated Pandits and Dogras, Hindus, were finding they are not getting any jobs. And Muslims were mainly business community.
Yes.
That was the remarkable thing. They were business community. So they were not much into jobs. Since Pandits and Hindu Dogras were getting affected, they started this movement to incorporate this clause of a state subject. That means only a state subject, that means who is the original resident of Jammu and Kashmir, will get preference over others in matters of jobs, promotions, career growth, business, lands, nobody can buy. What Nehruji did, he retained that. It is not Nehruji's gift to J&K. Let people read history. It was there already when Maharaja Hari Singh was the ruler, and there was no talk of partition of India. So that's what he did. He said, okay, you be happy with it. So J&K state, as a part of India, under certain conditions, India had a jurisdiction over same defense, communications, foreign affairs, and this thing, whatever. In Maharaja Hari Singh's regime, Sheikhullah was made prime minister. So now you have a special status, autonomy, a kind of autonomy you have. So had Wazir-e-Azam, prime minister. It did not have governor, it had Sadr-e-Riyasat. Sadr-e-Riyasat, that means president. Okay. And it had its own flag, it had its own constitution, because it has a level of autonomy. But it was not out of reach of India, because India had control over defense, communications, foreign affairs, currency. Yes. Most important things. Take away your rule, you be a part of our. I have achieved my political purpose. Now I wanted this team of 4 or 5, all these great leaders, to have J&K as a part of Indian Union. They had achieved that.
Yes.
So that was the reason why this status was granted to Sheikh Abdullah, because Sheikh Abdullah was the tallest leader of Kashmiri Muslims in Kashmir Valley. And this was a kind of a link between Indian Union and Kashmir, was Article 370, which was nothing but taken from Instrument of Accession, Government of India Act 1935, how a princely state should accede to India or Pakistan or be independent. This is what. So Nehruji didn't do something out of the way. Something, okay, he got it implemented in the constitution and all that. That's a administrative procedure.
Yes.
But he didn't do something very revolutionary or unnecessarily which was not there, and he invented it and he gave it to him. It was already there. That's what I have understood.
That's the clarity what this generation wants. See, the Kashmiri Pandits, that is the only place where I know that it's Pandits. Generally, nowhere it is called as state Pandits and all this. Only in Kashmir Pandits. I was told that the majority is not there. It's only minority, 4 lakhs on odd population. Why was there so rift between Muslims and Hindus there, especially on Kashmiri Pandits? What was the reason?
No, you see, you have to look into the history of Kashmir pre-1986 and post-1986. That's a watershed. And again pre-1971 and between 1971 and 1986.
1986. Bangladesh.
Creation of Bangladesh. You see, until 1971 or thereafter for some years, a decade or so, there was nothing like animosity between Pandit and a Muslim. You see, until 1986, that is, I didn't come across any instance of Muslims vandalizing a temple, breaking idols, or wholesale abusing Kashmiri Pandits or maltreating them. Yes, some anti-social elements will be there in every community. That is different. But as a matter of rule, there was no animosity. There was nothing, one would say that Pandits were being ill-treated by Muslims, local Muslims. Politics is different. Yeah. See, Pandits were deprived of many opportunities, including education institution admissions, vocational training admissions, in jobs, in promotion, all those things was there. That also led to Kashmiri Pandits migrating from Kashmir Valley to other parts of India. So that was there. But there was no such animosity. Now what happened? Why did this? How did this animosity?
Yes.
For that, you have to understand two things. One, the arrest of Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah in 1953. The question is, why did Nehruji got Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah arrested, having installed him as Prime Minister of J&K? The only answer is that Sheikh Abdullah crossed his limits. And the biggest blunder he did was, in the United Nations, he sought support of UK and USA for an independent Kashmir. Okay, and that was intolerable for Nehruji. He dismissed him and got him arrested. As simple as that. And by doing so, Mr. Sheikh Abdullah also violated Delhi Agreement of 1952. That is a matter of detail. So once he transgressed, once he questioned the integrity of India, Pandit Nehru, who dismissed him, arrested him, that needed lot of political courage and conviction.
Yes.
Whom are you arresting? The tallest leader of Kashmir, Muslims. At what stage? When India is a very nascent nation. It has too many problems to handle. The situation in which Britishers had left us is an astronomical task before that leadership. In that situation, when the leadership is trying to build India, to provide something to masses, he dismissed the tallest leader.
That is guts and courage.
Obviously. That means he will not tolerate anybody playing with integrity of India.
That's it.
You will be accommodated, but don't question integrity of India. You will not be tolerated, yes. Whatever you are. So he showed him his way, arrested him. So then you see the politics. Then his lieutenant, second in command, most trusted person, Mr. Sheikh Abdullah, Mirza Muhammad Afzal Beg, he raised the demand of plebiscite in Kashmir. And he quoted Mr. Nehru, that Mr. Nehru had publicly declared in Lal Chowk that plebiscite be held under UN auspices, under UN supervision. Okay. And Mirza Muhammad Afzal Beg did not say that Pakistan has come in the way of implementing UN resolution. So that kind of a political opportunism started with us. Okay. So there was an outfit by name Jamaat-e-Islami, who always stood for merger with Pakistan. They never changed their stand. They never bargained it for any lure of power. They stood by their demand.
Yes.
We want Pakistan merger. Why? Because commonality of religion is there. Then there was an establishment called Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, who was quite nascent, who was just emerging, who stood for independent, sovereign J&K state. So these forces were there in order. But then after dismissal of Sheikh Abdullah, there was no hue and cry in public. Bakshi Ghulam Muhammad, who was his lieutenant of Sheikh Abdullah, he was made Prime Minister. From 1953 to 1964, 10 years he remained Prime Minister. He didn't get any elections conducted. He ruled and he ensured that there is no voice raised against India. He ensured that. In 1964, he resigned for different reasons. I will not go into those details. And Nehruji accepted his resignation. Then he installed his puppet by the name Mr. Shamsuddin for 6 months. Then thereafter, Mr. Ghulam Muhammad Sadiq, who again was a lieutenant of Sheikh Abdullah, they were same. He was made Prime Minister in 1964, something around that time. And he remained Prime Minister up to 23rd March 1965. Thereafter, he was relegated to the chair of Chief Minister. Remember this. This is very important political dynamics.
Prime Minister to Chief
Relegated from Prime Minister to Chief Minister and continued for a long time. Thereafter, Mir Qasim became Chief Minister. And in 1974, they signed Indira Sheikh Accord, according to which in 1975, Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah took over as Chief Minister of J&K state. Just remember this, yes, Chief Minister.
Chief Minister.
In between what happened? 71. 71, Bangladesh was created. Now listen, there's no history book will tell you. This is my word of mouth history, as I have experienced, my horse's mouth.
Yes.
And I can give evidence for that. In 1971, after Bangladesh was created, this is the genesis. This is the genesis of hatred against Pandits. The turmoil starting 1986. This is the genesis. creation of Bangladesh. In 1971, sometime grocery shop, whose owner was my father's classmate and very good friend. This grocery shop owner was Jamaat-e-Islami member. That is, what are his political leanings? He wants to merge with Pakistan. There is no criticism. It's a political leaning.
Yes.
And maybe he is entitled to that. I don't know. But he would always treat me like his own son, because he was my father's classmate and very good friends. So that day in 1971, sometime in May, as a matter of routine, I went to his shop. He exchanged some pleasantries with me and he offered me something to eat, which I ate, his bakery items and all that. Then he told me in Kashmiri, quote unquote is, India has disintegrated Pakistan. It has divided it into two parts. Don't you think we should do something about India now? Unquote. This is 1971 May.
Much before this
Yes.
exodus.
I was 20 years old.
Seed of the problem.
I gave him a smile. Then in Kashmir he told me, you are smilingly, not with any venom. He said, yes, you will never answer this question because you are an Indian Pandit and a national. And he gave a smile, I left. More important than this is, my father was a professor of chemistry. He taught in many colleges in Jammu and Srinagar and Valley and all that. But he also taught in Sri Pratap College, Srinagar, SP College, Srinagar, of which I was also a student for 4 years. There was a senior chemistry lab in that college. And in the senior chemistry lab, there was what this post called senior gas man. This gas man would generate gas, but produce gas for supplying to the burners in the chemistry lab.
Yes.
His name was Ghulam Muhammad Bhatt. I don't know whether he is still there or not. He considered my mother as his sister. And his, again Jamaat-e-Islami person. He again belonged to Jamaat-e-Islami.
But still relations were very close and good between Hindus and Muslims.
Yeah. The politics is different.
Yes.
See, social level, socio-economic level, relationship is one. Political
That is different.
differences is another. Okay. And this gentleman, Ghulam Muhammad Bhatt, was our neighbor. And he used to frequent our house. I used to frequent his house. Right from 1971 until 1975-76, whenever I would meet him or he would meet me, he would tell me in Kashmiri, quote unquote, again, that I am very happy for you, Lalit. You are not going to settle in Kashmir, in Srinagar, and your two sisters will also not settle, I know, they will go out of Kashmir. And so your father will also leave and go out. I am very happy for you and your family, your father, because you are very nice people, you are humane. And why I am telling you this is because there is going to be bloodshed in Kashmir.
Bloodshed.
Bloodshed in Kashmir. Rivers of blood will flow. In Kashmir, he is telling me. And Pandits will be thrown out of the valley.
Pandits.
1971. Unquote. And this he kept repeating me from 71 to 75, 76. And whenever he said this to me, he hugged me with tears in his eyes for the sake that he was very happy that I will not be there.
Settling in.
Last time I met him was in this they can confirm. From SP College Srinagar, senior chemistry lab, senior gas man, Ghulam Muhammad Bhatt. He lived where? Somewhere in that area he lived. Then he built his own house at a different place near Hindu High School, that area. Last time I met him in 1988.
88.
And he invited me for lunch in his house. So I, my wife and my two small kids, we went and had lunch with him, with his family. Very nice time we had. We took some gifts for him. His wife gave some gifts to us. Because that bond was there. He was like a maternal uncle to me. Because that bond of sister,
yes,
it was really there. It was not a show off. Emotional connect was there. So we had lunch, a nice time with him, and he saw us, he came out with us and saw us out. Again he hugged me. Again he told me the same words, and again tears in his eyes. So you did very well, Lalit, you did not stay back. As I have told you, it is already ready, it is going to happen. 1988. Okay. So Bangladesh. Now when 1975, when Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah agreed to become Chief Minister of J&K, The cadre of National Conference got disappointed with him because they wanted him to lead again the agitation for Kashmir. So the cadre of National Conference, they joined Jamaat-e-Islam. And JKL was already in the news. They were already active. So this combined, and border was very porous. And there was already some contact with the Pakistanis. So what started was a cross-border travel without any checks. So they got trained in Pakistan. They were indoctrinated by the Maulvis and Mullahs who were borrowed from UP and Bihar, not Kashmiri Maulvis. Indoctrination in pure Islam.
So seed
that does not tolerate infidels. No, I can tell this to any Muslim leader. That does not tolerate any infidel. Therefore, Pandits were the infidels. And if Kashmir had to accede to Pakistan, then infidels can't be in Kashmir.
Kashmir.
So they had to be removed. This was the indoctrination which was carried out along with arms training right from, you can say, mid-70s, 72, 73, right up to eruption of insurgency in Kashmir. This Kashmiri Muslim youth who was only good at throwing stone as a matter of protest, some pebbles, in which we would also join him at our young age. Something happened, you
throw.
And who would enjoy songs of Muhammad Rafi and Lata Mangeshkar and filmy songs. And the girls who would be state-of-art fashion, Kashmiri girls, Muslims and Hindus both. Okay? They were radicalized there. This is the tragedy of Kashmir. They were radicalized. They were radicalized to the extent of filling their hearts and mind with the hatred for infidels, Kashmiri Pandits, for two reasons. One, they are Hindus, they are idol worshippers, which Islam dictates them to do. Second, they are Indian, they consider India as their country. They are nationalists, they are patriots. That is why the exodus, the forced exodus, happened on January 19th, 1990. When our community members, they left in panic without even caring to pick up their baggage, without even caring to lock their houses.
Forget about the properties, not even luggage.
And because many things had happened before that. And how that happened is another story. That also I can tell you. What kind of preparation was done?
1990 you said this is all done, but I think Anantnag and all those is
86.
86, much before. Yes.
See, that
was the trigger point.
That was the test. No. They tested the waters, whether government of India or the state government would act against them or not. Nobody acted.
4 years before.
Nobody acted.
That's why
they made him Home Minister of India. They made Mufti Muhammad Saeed, who had engineered their riots. Even a Kashmiri Muslim will tell you that. Forget about Pandits. Pandits will anyway tell because we were the sufferers. For the first time in my knowledge, idols and temples were vandalized in Kashmir. For the first time in my knowledge. Forget about Islamic rule, Muslim rule. So they tested the waters, whether government of India or state will act. Nothing happened. They were not.
So it's a failure of government. Failure of government.
They understood that government is not going to act. The army will be standby only. They will not act. Police will not act. The entire state machinery had been compromised. You will be amazed to know that the indoctrination was such and the planning was such that they had made a encyclopedia of Kashmiri Pandits in 20 years. They would know my address, my location, my profession, my family, whether I have a son or a daughter, how many children, whether all those details they had kept.
Recce.
They had done. So when they started targeted killings, they knew where to go and whom to kill. And all this when they did, they never told any Kashmiri Pandit friend that they are doing this. They are very pally. This is one type of jihad. They are very pally. As if nothing was going to happen. But in between they would give hints. Okay, you are building this house, this house. One day it will only come to me. We would say, okay, fine. We are such an idiots. We never understood their game plan. Because we always thought, okay, we have been living together for so long. Despite 1986, some shaking was there in our community.
Anantnag.
So this was a very well designed, very well planned. indoctrination in which the so-called mainstream parties like National Conference, that time PDP was not there, People's Democratic Party, it was not there. National Conference, the Jammu Kashmir Congress, people and other parties who were, anyway, Jamaat-e-Islami, you can't blame, they were always for that. They were all in league. That is why Farooq Abdullah, Chief Minister of J&K, fled to London for playing golf. Who doesn't know that? Who doesn't know that?
But in a recent interview, he was telling that he was not the chief minister at the time of.
Because he fled, he was chief minister. He resigned and he fled. Whom is he fooling?
He has given an open interview with India Today.
And who was Home Minister? Mufti Muhammad Saeed. And who got that his daughter kidnapped? He only. Muslims will tell you that. Why? To allow release of those terrorists,
Yes.
or militants they would call them those days, and allow distribution of arms across the valley. And he was Home Minister. Who made him Home Minister? VP Singh.
APC.
How? He asked him to fight from Saharanpur seat or somewhere in UP or Muzaffarnagar.
But if I am right, even BJP was supporting that government, VP Singh government at that time.
You see, that's why I'm telling you, there are two key words. One is VP Singh was Prime Minister. Other thing is Mufti Muhammad Saeed was Home Minister. Now this party of VP Singh was being supported government by BJP and communists.
Yes.
From outside. Now I have been saying it for last more than 30 years that the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits and their annihilation, their genocide, there was a national level political consensus about it. Every including BJP. Why? When the exodus was on, one press reporter informed VP Singh, public hai, it's in public domain, that Pandits are fleeing Kashmir and they have been robbed of their this thing, that thing, and they have been killed and rapes have been there. You know what VP Singh replied as a Prime Minister? He says, who Pandits?
Who Pandits? Prime Minister.
Yes. Now he said who Pandits? Okay, fine, because his Home Minister was Mufti Muhammad Saeed, who was responsible for 1986 riots. You see the game plan. Now BJP, forget about communists.
Yes.
BJP with Janda, BJP, Hindu.
Yes.
BJP as a party who is supporting this VP Singh government did not question this Prime Minister. Did not raise a point in his parliament. You answer, why did you say who Pandits? What do you mean by that? You retract your statement and apologize. No. But same VP Singh, when he sought to implement Mandal Commission, they withdrew support.
Yes.
That means what? BJP was in league in their political consensus that Pandits had to be thrown out.
Surprising.
Why? There was a peace, to bargain for peace, to buy peace. What did they achieve here by throwing out Pandits? Islamic State, Islamic Kashmir. Okay, you want to join Pakistan, you don't join, we will make Kashmir an Islamic State, there will be only Muslims and you rule. This is the politics behind it. And how many temples they demolished? Nobody knows. But recently, 1 year ago, in Bhadarwah, they demolished temples.
Yeah.
Why? In India they do, no?
Yes.
The Muslim leaders, political and religious leaders, they encourage them. And then, having vandalized temples, they will beat their chest and then say Islamophobia. This is the smartness. So they have been doing that. They will call some Shaitani Gufa. The Sun Temple,
Yes.
they used to call Shaitani Gufa. See, this is not their fault. This is what Islam is all about. You read Holy Quran. I have nothing against it. You read the life of Prophet Muhammad. You read Hadith. It's a wonderful thing to read. It tells you the political philosophy of Islam. And I am nobody to criticize it. Because Islam ruled this world for 1200 years. Caliphs and Ottoman Empire. I mean, it is remarkable. 1200 years of rule means there must be some strength in that philosophy. So I am nobody to criticize. But I am telling you why this happened. See, you cannot indoctrinate a person imagining something in the air. If the law of Allah as documented in the Holy Quran, on that law of Allah only, this Maulvi will tell you, this is what Allah has ordained for you. As an ordinary Muslim, can I contradict that? I cannot. I am not to be blamed. That Maulvi is not to be blamed. That Maulana is not to be blamed because they are to teach Islam. And now this concept in Islam is not only about this. It is about economics. It is about jurisprudence. It is about many other things, how to do business. It is about property rights. It's about writing a will and all. Everything is there. It's not only just this. But to achieve a political aim, they use this.
Yes, instrument as an
You understand that.
correct.
It is not Islam is just this. The political philosophy of Islam or
Interpretation of these people.
This as for their political gains.
Yes, interpretation of these people.
This ayat, chapter number 9, ayat number 5 tells you this. I will not quote that. I don't want. So, if you are a true Muslim, you must do this. What is the aim? Political. Aim is political. So, that kind of interaction took place, which led to mass exodus. I mean, there was this Yasin Malik. I will tell you the compliance kya hai. See, this Yasin Malik is on record in his interview with DD, Doordarshan.
Yeah, it is there.
Sometime in June 1990 or May 1990. I'm not sure. He says he doesn't remember how many Pandits he murdered and how many women he disgraced. He says he doesn't, and he says it was his duty. What more evidence you want, yaar? Similarly, his comrade in arms, Bitta Karate, he is also on record in a video. Now, the same Yasin Malik was treated as a VIP by Manmohan Singh, by Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and same prime ministers, whether be it Narasimha Rao, be it Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, be it Shri Manmohan Singh, they all entertained them as VIPs and engaged themselves in negotiation with Hurriyat and provided state security to these people who were fighting a campaign against Indian integrity. This is a tragedy.
Including Vajpayee.
Including Vajpayee. Let them deny this. What is your business in negotiating with anti-national elements? When there is a UN resolution, you know who has defaulted, you know what is the Kashmir issue, you know who created Kashmir problem. What is there to negotiate? You are not sure of it that Kashmir is an integral part of India. What is your doubt? What are you trying to negotiate? You are willing to give Kashmir to them. Then what about resolution that you passed in Indian Parliament in 1994? Then why did you have to pass the resolution in first place? What about efforts of Nehruji, Gandhi, Patel Sahab and others who ensured that J&K is a part of India? What about those efforts? Who are you to question that, bhai?
But if I remember, Vajpayee ji was always telling, Delhi dur bhi nahi hai, hamara dil bhi dur nahi hai. You come, we'll solve.
What is he going to solve? What is that means they accepted Kashmir as a problem?
Yes.
Why did they accept? They are negating what Sheikh Abdullah in his address to UN said about India and Pakistan, how we praised India, how we praised instrument of accession, how we praised democratic polity of India, democratic dispensation of India. They are negating that. What are they negating here? What are they negating? What are they negotiating? Why are they entertaining Pakistan on what? Once you say, I am ready to negotiate with Pakistan as they did, that means you are accepting that Kashmir is a problem. That means you are negating everything that others did, the great people, the great souls did to retain J&K as a part of India. You are even more anti-national than, if you may choose to call Sri Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah. What are you negotiating? You first answer that question. How can you provide state security? How can national government of India give funds for security of Mr. S.A.S. Jilani, Yasin Malik, Bitta Karate and other so-called mainstream who are essentially anti-national, who are leading a campaign against India to see that Kashmir secedes from India, and you are providing state security? Why, bhai? What's your problem? So that is the compliance. They were in hand in gloves and they succeeded in ensuring that Kashmir becomes a purely Muslim region. So Islamic, many things have happened. They have brutalized Kashmir. They have dehumanized Kashmiri society, which includes both Muslims and Pandits. I mean, it is a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
So present generation, after hearing all this, we never felt all these issues. We only heard. Media was also not that strong or that wide at that time.
No, media was also in league.
Okay.
I will tell you, I took some of my, that in detail, but in short, some of us got activated and we tried to articulate a political demand for Kashmiri Pandits. That I will tell you in detail later. And I took them to places like Bangalore, Chennai, Nagpur, And then even Hyderabad, in that Hyderabad, Gyani Zail Singh had come to address. In that they also addressed. They spoke. Media never covered it. Nowhere media covered it. Why, bhai? So media was also a hand in glue.
Especially the new generation, recent past, after this abolition of 370 and 35A, they felt some magic is going to happen.
Who? Which youth? Outside Kashmir or inside Kashmir?
India, entire India. I don't know about Kashmir, and that's why. We all felt that some magic is going to happen, and things in Jammu and Kashmir are going to be very green. And we felt that yes, Kashmir is ours. Is the position really so green now?
You see, first of all, you understand what is abrogation all about. It's the biggest farce played on this country. This abrogation, let respected Home Minister talk to me. And let all these political analysts talk to me. You can describe Article 70 in a very legal language, make it more complicated that nobody understands. That is one thing. But fundamental to Article 370 and 35A was this. One, it had a Prime Minister. Two, it had a President, not Governor. Three, it had its own flag. Fourth, it had its own constitution and few other things. And India had jurisdiction, as I told you. Now, what is the most important point in it? It had a Prime Minister. What is the difference between a Prime Minister and a Chief Minister? What is the difference between Mr. Modi ji and, let us say, our own Chief Minister of Telangana, Mr. KCR, or any other Chief Minister? Modi ji is Chief Executive of a sovereign state of India. Sovereign independent state. So, India has a constitution.
Yes.
India has a flag. Why? Because it is sovereign state, independent. So, PM heads that independent sovereign state. Chief Minister does not. Telangana cannot have its own constitution. Tamil Nadu cannot have. Bihar cannot have. They cannot have their own flag. They can have party flags. Yes. So, in Kashmir, on 23rd March 1965, when Ghulam Muhammad Sadiq was relegated to the chair of Chief Minister from Prime Minister, Article 370 was dead and dusted.
At that time only.
Obviously, you have relegated Prime Minister to Chief Minister. How can Chief Minister have his own constitution? Then let Mr. KCR have his own constitution. Whom are you fooling? How can Kashmir have its own flag? Then you let Mr. Chief Minister of Punjab have its own flag. Whom are you fooling? Now, it is not in their courage to abrogate Article 370 yet. They couldn't handle Shaheen Bagh.
Yeah.
Those who make big claims,
yes,
they couldn't handle Shaheen Bagh. Had Corona not come, Shaheen Bagh would have continued, all in the hope of votes. They couldn't handle what they call farmers' agitation. They didn't have the courage to question, what are you protesting against? Why are you having anti-CAA hooliganism? They didn't have courage. What is against Muslims in CAA? Right? Let anybody explain to me. They want illegal migrants from Bangladesh and Myanmar to be Muslims so that Ghazwa 2047 can be accomplished. Yes. Let nobody have any doubts in this. Why didn't our Home Minister, this government, had the courage to tell them at their face, this is what you are doing? Why? Because Muslim votes count. For BJP also Muslim votes count. It is not just Congress. So now, when Ghulam Muhammad Sadiq became Chief Minister, thereafter everybody was a Chief Minister. So there is a remarkable Mr. Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri. In one stroke of pen, he literally finished Article 370. Then now it had to be given a final stamp of approval. See, if I recite from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, who will care? Who is this man? But if some Swami Tirthananda, Ramananda, or God bless if Sri Krishna himself comes. then people will listen. I may have better interpretation of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, but who will care to listen? Yes. Who is this idiot? What does he think? So, who is Ghulam Muhammad Sadiq? He was no leader. He had a communist leaning also. He was not a public leader, mass leader. Who was mass leader? Sheikh Mahmud Abdullah. Yes. So, what Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri did in 65 by relegating him to CM post, Indira ji put a final stamp of approval on that by installing Sheikh Mahmud Abdullah as Chief Minister. Who is Sheikh Abdullah? Who was Prime Minister? Understand this dynamics. And who was the tallest leader in Kashmir. Indira Sheikh Award of 1974. He occupied the chair of Chief Minister. That day, Indira Gandhi, in agreement with Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, finally buried the skeleton of 370. Because who has given a final stamp of approval by being CM? It is Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah. Who is Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah? Who is the tallest leader of Kashmiri Muslims, who led the movement against Maharaja Hari Singh, and who went to UN and sought support from UK and USA for independent Kashmir, for which he was sacked. It is that Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah who is agreeing to become CM. That day it was buried. That guts these people don't have, bhai. Whom are they fooling? And why did Sheikh Abdullah accept that? He gave a stamp and he is on record. He is on record having said, quote unquote, Article 370 is not as pious a document that cannot be altered. It is not Holy Quran.
Okay.
He is on record. Yeah. Muslims are quoting that. Present Muslim youth is quoting that in Kashmir. They are displaying in Facebook posts, in Twitter. I have got from them. I can show you that in Urdu poster. But Sheikh Abdullah was a brilliant politician.
Yeah, of course.
No.
His son is...
His humiliation of accepting Chief Minister, he was not hungry about power. When he became Chief Minister, his deputy Mirza Muhammad Afzal Beg, it was 1975, and my friends were there, I was there. Mirza Muhammad Afzal Beg asked him, Arey bhai, now once again you have become Chief Minister, why don't you give a call for restarting the movement? This is word of mouth history.
Okay.
This is word of mouth history.
75.
75. I am quoting here also. No politician, no this TV channel, no these anchors will tell you this. No political commentators, even including Kashmiri Pandits, will tell you this. Because everybody has been asked to put on blinkers and move in a particular direction. In 1975, Kashmiri Muslim youth educated along with Kashmiri Pandit youth. You see the coordination. There was no hatred.
Yes.
There was no hatred. They staged protests for unemployment in a very novel way. They became vegetable vendors. They became cart drivers, horse cart drivers. They became auto drivers. And they put a placard, their degree like MSc Chemistry, MSc Physics, MSc Mathematics, or BE, whatever, engineering, they put, or BCom, like that.
Just like that Mandal Commission time.
So it became hit. It was very well appreciated. The way they were protesting was very well appreciated, in which Kashmiri Pandit non-unemployed youth also participated. Then they were invited to, they sought an appointment with Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah. And he gave them. Then they told their woes by employment, unemployment. Then you know what he replied, quote unquote, this is not a time to seek jobs. This is time to prepare for jihad. Because, how do I know? They are my friends. They came and told. I told them, Muslims are my friends. How can I have no Muslim friend? I am born, brought up in Kashmir, right? I have studied with them school in college. So that is the role and the impetus Sheikh Abdullah gave to the secessionist movement against India, to the Kashmiri Muslims, who then migrated to Jamaat-e-Islami and crossed the border and were trained, because Ziaul Haq already had an Operation Topaz, beautifully documented. In that, the brilliance of Ziaul Haq was that he said the insurgency should start from South Kashmir.
South Kashmir.
South Kashmir, because South Kashmir is
to
not contiguous with Pakistani border,
yes,
so that they cannot say Pakistan is playing a foul. It will be an internal matter. Even today, there is insurgency only in South Kashmir, and hardly more than 2 districts were involved all through.
Is it the same time when Indira Gandhi was being presented by a gift from Mr.
When he 82, when he came to watch a cricket match, he gave a gift to Indira Gandhi.
Very
Indira
odd
Gandhi
gift. Very odd
opened that gift and she found a razor in that.
Yes.
So Operation Topaz.
Operation Topaz, correct.
He gave her it. So it was very well. It was very well planned, schemed, in which all the so-called mainstream, the leaders of National Conference, JK Congress and others, they played a role. They were doing it covertly, and Jamaat-e-Islami, JKLF and others were doing it overtly.
What do you feel after this 2019? What is the position?
So when they say,
right
let me complete. Now when they say Article 370 has been, that's all farce.
Yeah, okay.
That's all false. The greatest tragedy is that they have not been able to change the perception of Kashmiri Muslims. You can abrogate anything by you want because you have majority in the parliament. You can enact any bill, any law you can enact. Na? You can
Yes.
present a bill, enact a law because you have majority.
Okay.
But that enactment of law or any crucial this thing like abrogation does not necessarily mean the people's perception has changed.
They should win the heart of the people.
This is very important.
Confidence
No,
of the
political, yes. And these people, BJP leaders who did all this, have miserably failed in that. The immediate response was what? These Farooq Abdullahs and Muftis, they formed a joint alliance.
Yes.
People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration.
Yeah.
They openly profess our aim is to restore Article 370 and 35A.
Yes.
See the political debauchery, the political opportunism. See how they are misleading people. They don't have the courage to say that Article 370 was dusted and buried and stamp was given by Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah. But only one person had that courage. Shri S.A.S. Jilani. I am telling you, these people who led the movement against India, whether I agree with them or disagree with them, they had more integrity for their cause than all these Abdullahs and Muftis and loans and these congresses there. I am telling you this, Ghulam Nabi Azads. They were committed to that cause, that Kashmir has to secede from India. If you have the power, you stop them. Yes. That is politics. He may be entitled to his political aspiration. But the honesty, integrity was that in 2011, S.A.S. Jilani in an interview said, whom is Farooq Abdullah fooling? His father buried Article 370 in 1975 when he became Chief Minister. It is on record. You go to Google, you will find. Why this is all political opportunism? This is all political debauchery. Whom is he misleading? Where is Article 370? Where is it? His father buried it in 1975 when he became Chief Minister. This is S.A.S. Jilani. This is not Lalit Kumar Kaul. And I have been saying this for the last 30 years, but when I came across this statement, I was so thrilled by one political activist in Kashmir Valley, very youth, I mean, he must be in 30s, early 30s, who are all supposed to be pro-India. They at least speak that language and are involved in these social activities and political party also there. He used to get calls from various TV channels to debate, participate. And he would call me, we would discuss. I will not name him. We will discuss, and then once there was going to be a debate on abrogation of Article 370. And there was a JKLF leader who was participating from somewhere in UK, some London or where, don't remember. And there were some political, Kashmiri Pandit also political analysts and some others. And this man was also there. I told him that when you go to the panel and when it's your turn to speak, you only ask one question. He asked me, what is it? I said, you ask, what is the difference between Prime Minister and Chief Minister? When there is Article 370, you ask this question. And he asked. When he asked this question, that JKLF leader, he was simply so disturbed that he started jumping in his seat. And the other political commentator, Pandit, red-faced. All were red-faced. Nobody had an answer. Because that is the essence. A Chief Minister cannot have his own constitution, cannot have his own flag.
What do you think the present and future? How it is going to work? Is there any solution, do you think?
You see, first thing is this politics of opportunism, which has dehumanized. It has traumatized Kashmiri society, which includes both Pandits and Muslims for different reasons. Pandits were humiliated and thrown out and all barbarism inflicted on them because religious reasons and for being considered as patriots, Indians. Whatever was done to them, it was done to them for that reason. Kashmiri Muslims were traumatized because it has to be an Islamic state, it has to merge with Pakistan, and India is coming in the way, and India is not keeping her obligation towards UN. The demand of secessionist Hurriyat was, India has occupied Kashmir, it should vacate. This is terrible. This is the political narrative built. A common man, a businessman Muslim who owns a shop, who owns an orchard, who is not so-called educated in that sense, who earns his livelihood, who has no need to study English, who has no need to understand what Article 370 is, When a person like Jilani or others, they tell him India has occupied Kashmir, he will accept it, isn't it? So this is what has happened. Now, today a similar thing. You are saying you abrogated Article 370. Now this PhD gang and the others, they are saying our identity is being dissolved. What identity here? What identity? Is your religion being snatched from you? Are you being stopped from doing namaz 5 times a day? What identity? Because 370 has been abrogated. Now the failure of BJP government, BJP has quite a bit of presence in Jammu.
Yes.
The failure is that they have not been, and it has made inroads in Kashmir Valley also. See, BJP has now offices in Kashmir Valley which could not have been thought of 5-6 years ago. And they started having that prior to so-called abrogation of Article 370. Yet, BJP has not been able to devise a plan to have a series of interactions with Kashmiri Muslims, youth, young and old, both, to tell them what this Article 370 was all about and to change their political perception built by the narrative of PhD. This is the failure of BJP. You may kill a terrorist, fine. A terrorist has to be killed. There can be no sympathies for that. But how many terrorists will you kill?
Yes.
Terrorism
has to be killed.
It has become northeast. It is almost approaching northeast, the tragedy of northeast. It's not going to stop. It's killing them. Because how many will you trace? Your intelligence failure is bound to happen sometimes. They are not descendants from heaven. They are not Krishna. They are bound to fail sometimes. It's a human thing. I am also bound to fail in my duty sometimes. There is no, and especially if somebody tries to do few things, he is bound to fail. One who doesn't fail means he has never done anything. Yes. So these things will happen. You are gunning down, in a big news. 3 people eliminated, 4 eliminated, big gang busted. But the political perception remains that you have occupied Kashmir and you have now by abrogation deprived us of our identity. This perception has to change. And how that can change? There has to be a debate, not political debate, an intellectual debate based on history, historical documents. Debate has to be initiated, series of debates with university students involvement, college going students involvement,
public involvement,
girls, women, public, and also these political leaders. Like, what is Article 370? Who brought into existence 35A? When was first time that it was state subject? And the debate should be strictly as per historical records, not political narrative.
Yes.
Political narratives you do in your public speeches in election rallies. But here, let the common man, let the educated youth, university graduates, school, college going students of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh understand what is history, bhai. What happened to Kashmir? What is Article 370? What is who defaulted? And who carried this politics based on falsehood and who supported this politics based on falsehood? See, BJP has supported this politics based on falsehood that Article 370 is in vogue. Why did they do this? There is also a reason for that. That is Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was a very great person because his politics was value based. He quit Congress and because he opposed Article 370. You can't grudge him that. You can't criticize him for that. And he said in one country there cannot be 2 flags and there cannot be 2 constitutions. There has to be only 1 flag, 1 constitution. And he started that movement. And he was poisoned in Kashmir and killed. Yes. That's also on record. Now there was Jan Sangh. He founded Jan Sangh. Then it transformed into BJP. Right? Now BJP after 1963 March and essentially after 1975, they could have easily said there is no Article 70. What are you talking about? Because BJP understands Constitution. Na? BJP understands the features of Article 70 unless they have not read it. They must read it if they have not read it. And they must understand what is the difference between PM and CM. I am telling them they must read because they are the biggest Deshbhaktas. Huh? Congress says it has got you freedom, so it has total control on you. Yes. Whatever they do, they leave it. So that perception is there. What do you do now? You have to carry on with these debates. You have to educate the people.
Yes, that is it.
And then only political perceptions will change. They will question what you have been speaking. Sheikh Abdullah is on record having said, no, Article 370 is not such a pious document that cannot be changed. It is not Holy Quran. So, but BJP has totally failed in this. So you keep killing terrorists. And you keep blaming Turkey and Pakistan.
As you said, the grassroots cause should be seen and change should come.
People's perception about what has happened in Kashmir has to be brought in line with the historical facts. Let nobody speak for somebody. Let historical facts be brought out and shown. Padho bhai. You student can read, no? Read. You read and you tell me what is your interpretation. I will answer. You question, I will answer. Let us not talk in air. Let us not build our own history and then give a narrative based on my history, which is non-existent, and then create turmoil in the society and dehumanize them.
Let us hope that all this will turn out fruitful.
They have to come clean. BJP has to come. The Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, now these fellows kept quiet. Why? Because they wanted to take the credit for the movement which Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee had started. I am very sure had Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee been alive in 65 or 75, he would have called off his agitation. Definitely, I am sure. Because Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was a politician who had some value system attached to it. He was not a political opportunist. He gave his life for a cause that he stood for. Right? Yes. He was killed for that cause. He did not have. What was his business? He could have kept quiet. No? He could have continued to be in Congress.
Sir, coming to this Kashmiri Pandits, the exodus who have come out, they are coming with a demand to the government of India, telling that they want a separate land. What do you think of government? Will it entertain?
It's a different matter whether government of India will entertain or not. The basic things one must try to understand. The exodus of 1990 was not the first one, seventh. And earlier ones had taken during Islamic rule. The so much fancied and loud Sufis, what they call Sufi culture. It was the Sufis who let loose tyranny on infidels and insisted with the local Muslim ruler to enforce Islam on these infidels. Sufis have played a role. This I am not saying. This is the books documented, written by Muslims, not Lalit Kumar Kaul, not a Kashmiri Pandit. Okay, this is one. Keep this thing in mind. Now the seventh exodus, and one more sort of exodus in the movement, migration, not exodus, migration large scale, happened after Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah implemented land to tiller in Kashmir Valley. Lands were with Pandits. There is maybe history of that. I am not justifying that Pandits only should have lands, agricultural lands. ठीक है, Muslims were the tenants. You implemented land to tiller. Very novel idea. I agree for that. I approve that. But what he did, after implementing land to tiller, he did not give a single paisa compensation to Pandit land owners. That showed his communal intent. Sheikh Abdullah was an out and out communal intent. Out and out. That also comes through when he founded Muslim Conference initially.
Later on he converted.
Yeah, that is for different reasons. I told you, he was a brilliant politician. While seeming to be flexible, he was like a leopard who never changes his spots. His basic ideology remained same. Anyway. So at that time, many Pandits left and migrated to Delhi. Most of them went on to become ambassadors. That this mass-scale exodus should happen in an independent India, which is supposed to be secular and democratic. What is our fate? This did not happen under any Islamic rule. You can say Islamic tyrant. It did not happen. The Prime Minister of India was a Hindu. Yeah. Constitution doesn't say that. So then we got together. A middle class community who had become slum dwellers overnight
Yes.
sitting on the footpaths and where I have visited all those camps.
1999.
Most of the camps I have visited in Jammu region, in Delhi, to locate my relations,
Yes.
my relatives, and I did locate them. And it was such an emotional breakdown for me. The people who are very well-to-do had become beggars, right?
Living in the camps.
This is the achievement of democratic India. So after all this, some of us came together, youngsters that time, and we coined a slogan, "Homeland for Kashmiri Pandits."
Yes. Union territory.
As you know that. So we call it homeland as Pannun Kashmir.
Pardon?
Pannun means mine, Kashmir.
Pannun Kashmir.
And that resolution about Pannun Kashmir was passed in Magh Darshan 91, which was held at Abhinav Theatre, Jammu, in which I also participated. And I moved the resolution for homeland of Kashmiri Pandits in the first session of second day. There were 2-day sessions. And some 1,500 or 2,000 Pandits, intellectuals, press reporters, historians, they participated in Jammu, because all had come, all had fled. And it was given a very wide coverage by national media. Editorials were written. Even Americans responded. Homeland. It has such an effect that S.A.S. Jilani, who was chairman of Hurriyat, that not a secession leader, he invited us for a dialogue. And certain few Kashmiri militants who were from Shopian, I met with them in Jammu, and they talked about this homeland. I explained to them. That kind of impact it had. And then those 2 or 3, I think 3 militants, very young fellows, Kashmiri Muslims. One of them was a lady also, a girl also. They told me, why can't we have a meeting on this, on your homeland and our? I said, yes, we can have. Then he said, but you are asking a union territory. I said, yes. But we are asking for a separate independence. I said, yes. Then I said, we will take a call. Now we are asking union. Why are you worried? We are asking for a union territory homeland. That is our political aspiration. Because we have lost trust in the way you did what you did to us. Then can you have a meeting? I said, yes, we can have it. It was in Jammu. That meeting never took place. I am telling you the impact it had. Worldwide, not only in India.
And that.
It was reported. It has been documented in history books. Homeland for Kashmiri Pandits.
Yeah.
Europeans have documented it.
So you are one of the person who passed
moved
the resolution.
I was asked to move the resolution. I moved.
So with your permission, I will go close to your, because I know you very well. See, now the position the government says, please come back, all Kashmiri Pandits come back, you can own your land, everything. And they have invited others also to come and buy, like us. But I know that you had a very beautiful house in Kashmir, where you had a lot of memories in your young age, along with your sisters, father and mother and relatives. Why are you not going now and asking about your property back?
You see, I tell you honestly, a matter of fact, I was in one fine day, I found some Kashmiri Muslims knocking at my door. Here, you see their intelligence, their network.
They could trace you. They could trace you.
Brilliant, I am telling you. When they come to this exhibition, they collect all the data.
Manish.
They collect all the data. The Kashmiri Muslim is a very, very, very fertile political brain. Very fertile. Pandits are not. Pandits are bureaucratic, administration, education, professor somewhere. Okay, you'll become an ambassador somewhere. Because Pandits didn't have any political aspiration that went anti-India. So that is very important.
Yes.
We always believed that India is my country, my land of culture and heritage, of which Kashmir is a part. But Muslims never thought that way. So that is the difference. So they had that political. So they would collect this data. So they knocked at my door. I looked, ye kahan se aa gaya? Anyway, I invited them. They talked to me in Kashmiri. I also respected Kashmiri, and I made them comfortable in my house. My father was not there. He had gone to Bombay. They came and told me that this house has been sold, your house. They give me the address also. But it has not been registered. They told me they want to talk to my father, and because they want to buy this, because it is an unregistered property, and they are prepared to pay the latest amount. This is verbatim I am telling you.
When was this?
This was sometime, I think, in maybe early 2000 or something.
Early 2000 itself. Okay.
But they came to my house. I was amazed. But I admired also the kind of network they have, and they can locate you.
Yes.
That time there was no mobiles. You have to appreciate, because you can learn from them.
Yes.
If I want to learn, I can learn from them. I told them, no, my father is not here. He is in Bombay. His phone number, I don't know. I don't have his phone. He never gave me. He just left. He said he is going on tour to various places to meet his friends and all that. And I never ask him on his plan. I don't question him. When he wants to, he goes, and I book tickets. So he has gone to Bombay. But I have an offer. They said, what is the offer? I said, I will buy their property. You tell me what you want.
Your property, again you want to buy?
No, I'll buy.
Your own property you want to buy?
Because he said, no, it has been sold.
Okay.
You see, I will buy. I will give you a blank check. Limit is this. You put that, I will pay. Get the property on my name. And I don't care. You can reside there. I will reside in one part, you reside in another part. I have no problem with you people. I have nothing like this religious divide. Total red-faced. Not a word came out of their mouth. And they were just looking at me, totally dazed, dumbfounded, bewildered. No, you tell us, father. I don't have. They managed to get my father's location. They went to Bombay. They picked him up because he had been their teacher in Kashmir.
Oh.
My father was a very brilliant professor of chemistry. He was very highly regarded. They offered him to and fro, place for living there, and made him sign the document.
Why did your father sell that?
Eh?
Forced.
He was almost, I told you that they went to and picked him up. My father must have got worried, if I don't go, they may do some harm to my family, because they told him already, we have met your son in Hyderabad. You see, these gun-wielding people, what would my father care about their property if he thinks that his son and his son's family, his grandchildren are under threat? He agreed.
This was in 2000, where the government is supporting you.
That's all bakwas.
Bakwas. Can't I buy a land now?
Arey, yeah,
Can't I buy
let our respectable Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, we will provide him accommodation, sit there without security. Without security, let him stay in Kashmir 15-20 days.
So you mean to say we can buy, but there is no security. That's all. That is the reason.
You never know when a bullet will pierce through you. That's why I told you, all along I am telling you, the perception built in the people is that India has occupied Kashmir. This perception BJP has not been able to change. And post-abrogation of 370 so-called abrogation, it has further, by the call of our identity has been lost, it has been further barricaded.
So this is a publicity stunt. Come and buy the property.
I applied for domicile. See, first of all, I am a state subject. I have a state certificate. Yes. My father had, my grand, all those. Why do I have to apply for new domicile certificate?
Now, you have to apply?
I never got. I applied online. They never gave me.
You could have written to the
Whom will
Ministry of... Ministry of...
What ministry?
Government.
Whom are you fooling? Whom are you fooling, yaar?
It's a right to you to...
What right? That's all on paper, yaar. That is all on paper. Then you know what happened? Then my friends in Jammu, they told me in Kashmiri, what a fool, stupid fool you are. Why are you standing on your principles? I said, I don't give a damn, yaar. I don't want domicile. I am a state subject. Na? First of all, this is totally irrationality. You have stripped me of my state subject and you want me to have a new domicile. And they are talking domicile of UT. Arey, what about domicile of J&K erstwhile state, bhai?
Yes. Old one.
Everything is vis-a-vis UT. What about erstwhile J&K state? Such duds are there sitting who have planned the domicile law. And why should I buy new domicile? I am already a state subject. My generations have lived there. My grandfather was electrical engineer who headed 10 megawatt hydropower plant at Mohra. Whom are you fooling? And now I am not getting domicile. Then my friends, they got onto my head. They said, no, we know. Then I gave somebody paper to them. They used their influence. They bribed somebody. And they told me they have got, which I have not yet collected.
You got it?
They have got by bribing. And this man, our respected Home Minister, if in 40 days domicile is not given, strict action will be taken. Where is the action? You see, the bureaucracy is so compromised. You may dismiss one or two. Bureaucracy is compromised since mid-70s. Even today it is compromised. So long as the political perception doesn't change, you can do nothing about Kashmir. I am telling you today, I may not be alive. In next 15 to 20 years, if political perceptions of Kashmiri Muslims don't change, they will again erupt. You don't think that Muslims are keeping quiet. They may hold tricolors. There is a section of Muslims. There is a section of Muslims who are genuinely pro-India, but they don't matter. They don't matter. You think in India, Muslim, everybody is like this, those who give venomous speeches? No. But majority never matters. You think the indoctrination that happened, in that 100% Muslims of Kashmir are involved? No. You think those who fought for independence struggle of India, 100% Indians are involved? No. The minority will cause a change, because the minority has the push, the dynamics, the stimulus to do that. And majority is silent majority, they will fall in line. All those modern, well-educated Muslims, if tomorrow a call for jihad comes and they are asked to donate, they will donate. No matter how much forward-looking, modern the Muslim may be. This you keep in mind. So we gave a call for homeland, separate, carve out a union territory. Now what was the basis for that? Basis was 7 exoduses. This was the 7th one. The trauma was the people with whom we lived for so many few centuries, they have already done this to us, so we cannot live with them. So we want a union territory exclusive of Pandits, exclusively for Pandits. Now you will say that is communal.
Yes.
Now I will tell you. Nambudiri Pat's government, CP, communist government in Kerala in 50s created an exclusive Muslim majority district in Kerala. Why was he allowed? Indira Gandhi seems to have dismissed him, but majority district remains, number 1. You allowed Pakistan, na?
Yes.
You allowed Pakistan or not? On what basis? On religious divide. Pakistan's existence is on religious divide. You allowed? You shouldn't have allowed.
But it was separated, no, sir, from
No,
India.
but you allowed, na?
You are asking to be in India.
No, no, ठीक है. But the greatest thing you did, historical thing you did, was you division of country, na? Why? You should have allowed Muhammad Ali Jinnah to be prime minister, first prime minister. What was your problem? What is your problem? You are secular, na? You are democratic, na? You are saying Muslims are a part of your country, na? You didn't. I am not criticizing you. You had your own reasons to disagree, na? Rightly, I am nobody to comment, to criticize, because I was not there. I was not following the dynamics. I was not amongst them. So I don't know their constraints. They got me freedom. So I am always at their feet. I will always respect them. But now you allowed religious divide. So I am saying UT exclusive for Pandits. Again religious divide. What is the problem? You can allow partition. Na? You can't carve out a UT from Kashmir Valley for Pandits. 2 points. Third point. You created Jharkhand. You created Uttarakhand. You created Telangana.
But that basis was different.
No, socio-political.
Yes.
Why was Uttarakhand created? Why was Telangana created? Yaar? We are being deprived of resources, of opportunities. We are saying same thing. There is a historical background to
No, but you are attaching only Kashmiri Pandits, not all.
You created majority Muslim district in Kerala, na? You created Pakistan, na? You created or not?
No, Pakistan and Kerala are two different. Pakistan, it was got divided from
Religious,
India and then formed.
No, religious divide. Don't get away. There is a religious divide as far as Pakistan and district in Kerala is concerned. There is a social political requirement insofar as Telangana is concerned, Jharkhand is concerned, Uttarakhand is concerned, and other Chhattisgarh is. Our problem is both religious divide and social political. We too have been deprived. It's on record. We can show, we can produce records. We have been deprived of admission into engineering colleges, medical colleges, even though we were among the first 10 or first 5 students meritorious. We have been deprived state jobs. We have been deprived career growth in state jobs. All that. What Telangana people used to say? You gave Telangana? Why don't you give us?
But it was not on religious.
But Pakistan?
That's what separate.
Don't. No. Let us
Also, you ask you ask for you people.
No. I will ask.
Exclusive
because you gave Muslims.
Pandit.
You gave Muslims Pakistan, na? You shouldn't have given. If you are denying me homeland exclusive for Pandits, how did you give Pakistan? Who gave you that right to divide my country, bhai? I can question, na? But who am I? Why should I question those great people? Yeah, they did. I am not telling you. I have been persecuted by Muslims. Is it not a fact? Can you deny this fact? My temples have been burnt. In 1986 they did this. Bhadravar, 1 year ago they have done this.
Yes.
Huh? I cannot live with them. My culture, my heritage has been demolished, is being demolished by the Muslims. So I want a place where I can live freely and adopt and follow my religion, my culture, and remain inspired by my heritage, which I can do only if this UT is created. And I am not saying I will not have anything to do with Muslims. I will have a business relationship.
But do you think you'll succeed in this?
Huh?
Do you think that you'll succeed
That
in
who
this?
knows? Did Pandit Nehru and Gandhiji and others think that even in 20s, even in early 30s, did they think that Pakistan will be created? Jews and Palestinians used to live very amicably in what was known as Palestine. Did they ever know that they will become refugees and they'll be bloody cleansed from their motherland of Palestine? Nobody knew. So nobody knows. But we have raised a demand. Why are you refusing it? You say that. Don't keep quiet. You should have the courage to say, I am not yielding to this for so and so reason. We will debate it out. We are not holding guns. We are not holding bombs, detonators.
You are not answering my other question, which is, are you going back to Kashmir and Srinagar and
Why I should
no,
be
go and take back your property again?
Why?
Trying.
No, even if who will give me back?
You just write a letter that you
I
are
am
forced.
not able to get domicile, yaar.
But you said just you got it.
That is because I bribe, my friends bribed them.
Do the same thing here.
Why should
also.
I bribe?
Get the,
No. And other thing is, why do you want the property back here? I am prepared to pay for it. Today I just may open, you are recording it, na? I am prepared to pay for my property, the entire thing. Okay, whatever be its market value today, I will pay. Okay. I become the owner. The day I join, I don't know when I will be shot.
security.
No. You saw this targeted killings, na? Post abrogation.
Yes.
The Pandits families who never left Kashmir Valley,
You're also-
who managed to be there under all humiliation and everything, they were shot dead by. For what reason? What is the message? Non-Muslims are not allowed. Whom are they fooling here? Whom is Amit Shah fooling? Then they will say, this terrorist has been shot down, he was responsible for killing so and so. Whom are you fooling here? How did you find out that he was responsible for killing so and so when you have gunned him down? Did you interrogate him? Did you ask him? I'm telling, I'm on my offer, na?
Yes.
That all these BJP leaders, with all due regard and the highest regard for our Home Minister, Shri Amit Shah, let him stay in Srinagar city, let him not go to the valley. He'll be too scared. Srinagar old city, we will provide him accommodation, free of cost. We will bear the expenses for his day-to-day needs. No sarcasm, honest.
Yeah. You're
Let him stay without security there.
Security.
Let him stay. Let me see how many months, days, years he can stay. That will give me confidence. No, Kashmir is safe. If he goes with all the paramilitary, all the bloody paraphernalia with security, and then give bhashans, that doesn't impress me.
So these outsiders going and buying land is all trash. This
Where is the
outside-
land in Kashmir Valley?
Land in Kashmir. There is no
Valley?
land.
Kashmir Valley, where is it?
No
Show me, yaar. Why do you think in Maharaja Hari Singh's time, this state subject was brought in? The only fear was that if you don't bring the state subject, that means the right of locals over the
Outsiders.
natural resources and human resources in land called Jammu and Kashmir. The fear was that foreigners will come, outsiders will come, they will buy forests. It is documented. It is not my theory here. So what will I buy? Forest? And then I will cut all those trees and cause devastation.
Urban lands?
Where is the urban land in Kashmir?
No.
जम्मू में है भाई.
जम्मू में, कश्मीर में.
अभी जो ये आपका यूएई से आ रहा है माल लगाने के लिए, it's a good thing. Where? And another thing is, who is the owner? Kashmiri Muslim. He doesn't want to sell. How will you buy? He will not sell it to you. You see, the Hindus of Jammu who speak Dogri, so they are called as Dogras. It's similar to Punjabi. They always did business with Kashmiris, Muslims and Hindus, Pandits both, but they never purchased a piece of land in Kashmir.
No Jammu person has.
No, why didn't they buy? Why didn't they buy? They never purchased. But Kashmiri Muslims, as a political aim,
So they purchased.
they encircled Jammu, this Roshni Act, all these netas, the so-called Indian, for India stuff, nonsense, this mainstream, Abdullahs and Muftis.
They purchased.
Through them, they ensure that Jammu is encircled by Muslims with the aim of making Jammu also a Muslim majority area. Why in 2016, I think, when he won with 3/4 majority, Sheikh Abdullah. Why he won? Because he promised every sect, every community an internal autonomy. You decide what you want to do, it will be implemented. He never did that. He instituted a commission in which only his party members were there, and they brought out a report in Vajpayee's time which wanted to create 8 Muslim majority districts. This is the communal aspect.
At that time only.
He submitted the report. Fortunately, why will Vajpayee Saab accept it? This is telling you his real intent. They are all communal, they are all anti-Hindu, anti-Pandits, and they are all anti-India elements. They are all. In addition to changing the political perception of Kashmiri Muslims, who is as much traumatized as Kashmiri Pandit is, for different reasons though. If that political person has, and these fellows have to be brought to justice. He is saying Article 370, I will nobody is questioning him. So, the property, they didn't have the courage to maintain our temples in Srinagar city, bhai. They haven't had the courage. They haven't had the courage to maintain our houses. They could easily maintain when they are dumping hundreds of crores in valley. Why can't they do this? I have not yet heard any BJP leader, I am naming now, saying Bharat Mata ki Jai in Kashmir Valley when they address or Vande Mataram. If they have said, please show me that video.
Not even Home Minister?
Oh, that is politics, bhai. See, that is the brilliance of politics. Why will you say something which you know will aggravate them? You may hold tricolor flags, you may show flags on every building. That is fine. There are definitely 10 to 50% Muslims who are genuinely,
Yes.
but they don't matter. They don't matter.
Recently there was a delimitation. So do you think that there is again a political
thing in delimitation? First of all, one has to understand why delimitation is necessary, why it is to be done. There is this called Representation of People's Act, under which people like us will elect representatives. A bit of diversion. The political history of independent India has been that people have voted for a leader, not for the representatives, those who contest elections, assembly or member. People voted for Nehruji. People voted for N.T. Ramarao. N.T. Ramarao could have put anybody in their constituency. He would have won. Why? Because people voted for great N.T. Ramarao. People voted for Indira Gandhi. She had no cadre. Communists were trying to build cadre. BJP is trying to build cadre. She is winning bloody elections without cadre. Why? Because people voted for Indira Gandhi. People vote for Modi ji. Modi ji doesn't require BJP, as Indira Gandhi didn't require Congress. Congress required Indira Gandhi. BJP requires Modi ji. Understand that. If Modi ji, Indira ji, N.T. Ramarao Sahab and Nehru ji, even if they had put 4-legged living ass donkey as a contestant, he would have won. I am telling you.
Not all, but
no, I am telling you. Even today, if you hear people's interviews, they say, हमें कोई मतलब नहीं है, हम मोदी जी के लिए वोट कर रहे हैं, आप किसी को भी बिठाओ. This is a narrative you hear, na? And they are ordinary people. They have no political axe to grind. So now, this delimitation.
Will it help?
So no, why do you do that? So I must first of all decide on some scientific basis how many people in thousands or in lakhs or in hundreds can one particular individual represent. See, first of all, they are representatives. They are not netas. The first political opportunism was, or fraud, deceit was, a representative suddenly becomes a neta, which is not. They are not netas. What is a representative? A leader is one, like Modi ji for example, Indira ji for example, or Nehru ji for example, or even N.T. Ramarao. I really admire him. I honestly admire him. Though I am not a Telugu. They had a vision here. They set the vision. Like Nehru ji had a vision, Indira ji had a vision, Modi ji has a different. That is a leader. Okay. Now, based on a vision, there is a map. Now, these elected representatives, not netas, they must work to make that road map successful. How? By getting the feedback from their constituencies.
Correct. That is democracy.
You agree?
That is democracy.
You agree or not?
Yes.
But they have become netas. Most of them have criminal backgrounds. That Supreme Court is saying. I am not saying. So first thing to be decided is how many can I represent? In Kashmir, J&K, if you see, in Jammu for example, there used to be a constituency called Gandhinagar West or something. Or Gandhi. It had 1,50,000 voters. There is another constituency by name Gurez.
Very less.
It has 11,000.
Very less, yes.
This is total farce. That means I can represent any number of people. If that is true, then I can be only one representative. Na? I can represent entire people. Why I should have so many MLAs and MPs? What they should have done in name of delimitation, they should have scientifically decided and try to remove these disparities.
Yes.
See, they could have divided this constituency into 8, 5 or 6 or merged Gurez with something else, so that the number of people to be
Yes.
represented within 10% tolerance.
That's
that you
not
cannot avoid.
so much of variance.
Say 50,000, 60,000, 55,000, 49,000. This they did not do. Why? Another most irrational thing that media is propagating at the call of these leaders who want this delimitation, who want it. Jammu is a very big geographical area than Kashmir. Ladakh is much more.
Ladakh is big.
So because Jammu is a bigger geographical area, it should have more people represented. What nonsense.
It's by people, not by land.
It is population density and the population and number of people. It is not forest, it is not trees, it is not rivers.
Yes.
Whom are you fooling? And media is carrying this. I mean, even legal personalities are carrying this narrative. Then Ladakh should have the maximum here.
Yes. It is much higher.
Much higher. Then it should outnumber
Jammu
Jammu and Kashmir. Right?
Yes.
This is the farce being played on the people. And BJP leaders in Jammu are aggrieved. Forget about others. Forget about Kashmiri Muslims. Forget about NC, PDP, everybody. BJP leaders in Jammu are disappointed.
Yes.
So what kind of a delimitation is this? And they are saying this delimitation, you have entrenched communal divide. This BJP leader is saying.
If you take an example, then one MP
And
has to cross a mountain. There are two constitutions outside the mountain and 3 this side.
And he says,
impossible.
He says they could have merged parts of China also. And they could have merged parts of Pakistan also.
Yes, that was the.
See, this is the, but they will not hear all that. See, the problem
Politics.
is, they will never address to a feedback because they have a political axe to grind. They want to rule in J&K, which they can never, because they have antagonized their own supporters in Jammu. Another thing you see, they have given SC/ST reservations. They have reserved constituencies, that is very good. They were deprived. They have not given 2 constituencies reserved for Kashmiri Pandits. Why? If you can give for Gujar Bakarwals, which I am not opposing, which is a very good thing because they can represent themselves.
Yes.
They can put that, like we have in the rest of India, we have reserved constituencies.
Was there any representation from your side?
I had passed it to one of my Kashmiri Muslim activists who is well known in the quarters. He discussed with me. Then we decided, okay, we will ask for this, in which Gujar Bakarwal also was there, everybody was there, and 2 constituent Kashmiri Pandits. He went and met them, he was called 2-3 times. He has put their proposal together, but they did not. Why? Because there is a national consensus on exit of Kashmiri Pandits from Kashmir. What is your problem? If you can give to Gujar Bakarwal, why can't you give 2 constituencies reserved for Kashmiri Pandits? Let them answer this question. What is the problem? Because Muslims will not like it. Yes. That Gujar Bakarwal is also a Muslim. But you must understand, Gujar Bakarwal is not anti-Indian. Gujar Bakarwal and local Kashmiri Muslim are always at cross. It is Gujar Bakarwal community which has saved India from aggression from Pakistan in 1965. It was one of their community members who informed, they were sleeping, that they have come within 30-kilometer distance, and what are you doing? That tells you the attitude of the so-called democratic country towards a minuscule minority like Kashmiri Pandits, whose total population is 7 lakh in the entire world. We are just
Parsis.
like Parsis. Maybe Parsis are worse off than us. Delimitation has been a terrible exercise.
Failure.
Terrible. I don't know what repercussions it will have. Political.
Once the election comes only.
No. They may win or lose. That doesn't matter. They may win or lose. They
It's
formed
not
government.
It's not scientific way of
BJP
dealing
formed
with
government with Mehbooba Mufti, coalition.
Yes.
So
anything is possible in politics.
So that is not the issue. Winning, losing election is not the issue. What is within the ocean? You are seeing the surface of the ocean, which is very serene and very calm, but what is going inside the ocean, underneath, you don't know. It's always full of turmoil, turbulence. It is not serene underneath. Because there are sharks, there are whales, there are fish, there are so many things there. They hunt each other.
Coming to this domicile law, what do you feel about this domicile law and what is the impact on the...
You see, first of all, if you have read new domicile law, it is all related to union territory. That means they have de-recognized existence of erstwhile J&K state.
Yes.
Now in erstwhile J&K state, every subject of that state used to have a state subject certificate. Once you have a state subject certificate, you are entitled to buy lands, to do jobs, to get education institutions, to do whatever you want to do in socio-economic, socio-political, socio-religious life, domains. All that you can do because you are a state subject. Like I could buy land anywhere in Jammu. A Jammu person could buy any land in Valley if it is available. In Ladakh, a Ladakhi could buy a land in Jammu. It was all state subject. A non-state subject holder like you couldn't have bought and couldn't have been got educated in the colleges or jobs, provided you were child of a central government employee who had come there on deputation. He would definitely get admissions like defense forces. They have their own central schools like that. Now, this new domicile law has entirely done away with this state subject. The domicile law talks only of the UT.
Yes.
When you can become a member, 10 years of your living in UT or 15 years of your living in UT. What about erstwhile J&K state, yeah? So now with that, what happened? I as a state certificate holder, I have to apply for domicile law. I applied online, which I was not given.
Online?
No. My wife applied online. She got, for me, a status came, all documents checked, sent to next level.
Okay.
That is, next level is Tehsildar. He has to give the domicile, whatever. The status is still there. If I can open it, I can show you.
Okay.
My wife applied for domicile, again online. That came a reply, there is so and so mistake.
Okay. Correction.
You come to Commissioner's office in Srinagar.
Personal visit.
However, is that the way to approve applications online? You tell what are the deficiencies, she will correct it online.
Yes. Correct.
This is all ploy not to give Pandit's domicile. This is how bureaucracy is compromised. And Amit Shah ji can do nothing about it. Now you may have some influence through bribing, this thing, that thing, persuasion, but that is not the way to get domicile. For a person who has been already a state subject, whose generations have lived there. So this is one outcome. But more seriously and more dangerous outcome is these so-called mainstream leaders like Muftis and these Abdullahs and Loans and others, they have now invented a phantom of demographic change. That is what they are saying, and our Home Ministry is able to do nothing about it. They are saying this new domicile law, by dint of its application and the fact that an outsider can buy land and settle down here, which will take only after 10 or 15 years,
yes,
in any case, settling down, will reduce Kashmiri Muslims to minority. And so the Kashmiri Muslim culture will be submerged and alien culture will be imposed on us, so our identity will be lost. Okay, this is a narrative, political narrative, to X a particular, to grind a particular X. Now these fellows should be told how does a demographic change occur. This is very scientific. There is nothing politics. It's a sort of mathematics there, statistics. It has nothing to do with politics. But these BJP fellows, they haven't shown the capacity to debunk this theory of demographic change. Now how does the demographic change occur? Now Muslims population in Kashmir Valley is around 2011 around 68 lakhs. So that is a base. Whatever be the birth rate, it will keep increasing from that base. Now Kashmiri Pandit base was 4 lakhs when they were in Kashmir.
Yes.
So 4 lakhs and 68 lakhs,
Yes.
how many times more than Muslims Kashmiri Pandits should multiply to overtake that population? Is it possible? Now you think of some IAS, IPS, ICS officer settling down in Kashmir, some business fellow, most of them may be Muslims only. What percentage of population will that form? Not even 0.1%.
Negligible.
Not even 0.01%. Each one of them produces 100 children like the trash. Will they ever go beyond Kashmiri Muslim population?
Cannot.
So what demographic change will be there? How can they influence Muslim culture? How can they dominate Kashmiri politics? How can they rule over Kashmiri Muslims? Not possible. This is a very simple logic. Unless the bases are comparable.
Yes.
Why Punjab was rescued and saved? Because population differential between Sikhs and Hindus was only 5-6%. I have a lot of regard for Sikhs. I am telling you, I am very emotional about them, and all the 10 gurus I bow. I have read their history. I have no words to express about them, what kind of souls they were. So let nobody demonize Sikhs. All that happened in Punjab were not Sikhs.
Yes.
Hindus, there was not such a mass exodus because they were in equal,
Yes.
so they could match them.
Match.
Okay. But in Kashmir, it was not like it was 97% and 3%. Domicile Act has further complicated the problem. It has given another stick to these so-called mainstream politicians to arouse passions of Kashmiri Muslims who will go by you. As I told you, a shopkeeper who is a Kashmiri Muslim, he may be having a big mall, or a Kashmiri Pandit for that matter, having an orchard or whatever. Why is he bothered to read English? He is doing business in Kashmir. He can do outside with speaking in Urdu or Hindi. So why will he read history books? He is making his livelihood respectably, with a lot of dignity. He is serving the people. He is selling good things, yes. Consumables, non-consumables, he is selling. So such people I call what you call uneducated and other uninformed educated. They will be easily swayed. How do we counter this? This is one bomb that is ticking. Forget about I am calling UAE to invest. Do you think there were no investment in J&K before Modi ji's government came into existence? Do you think central government of Indira Gandhi ji or Nehru ji or Narasimha Rao ji, they didn't pour funds in Kashmir Valley and Jammu? Kashmir Valley, they took 90% of the funds and starved Jammu. Who doesn't know that? Do you think you are only doing development? Do you think Bakshi Ghulam Muhammad in 10 years rule did not do any development? You must see the changes he brought. Whom are you fooling? You are doing development. This development is, you may do, it is not going to solve Kashmir problem unless the political perception change and this demographic change, very, very serious thing. And these people, when they fight elections collectively, they will raise these issues of demographic change, of loss of identity, they are going to open call, restoration of Article 37 and 35A. You have no counter. And people will vote for them. Obviously, you have no counter. You have even antagonized Jammu people who were your supporters by doing delimitation. And now, icing on the cake, Aam Aadmi Party has jumped into Kashmir politics. This is very dangerous.
Opportunity, sir.
No, wait a minute. Aam Aadmi Party is considered to be pro-Muslim. Muslims have come to know,
yes,
by his utterances, by his deeds, by his instigation of so many things.
Yeah.
Now, Aam Aadmi Party's ideology is no different from National Conference, PDP and others. When Farooq Abdullah says and PDP Mufti says that we will restore 370, Kejriwal may not say it openly, yes, but covertly he will support. Now imagine a situation which is possible that Aam Aadmi Party and PAGD combined come to power, yes, in assembly, J&K assembly.
Chances are there.
Okay, they will pass a resolution. Listen, this is very interesting, very, this situation which is terrifying. They come to power because BJP is nowhere.
Yes.
BJP anyway is nowhere in Kashmir Valley. Whatever base it had in Jammu, I think after delimitation, most of it must have been lost. And Panther's party leader has died. So Panther party may support, AAP may try to fill those voids, gaps, okay, in Jammu region. And Kashmir may anyway is a friend of Muslims. He may have some understanding PAGD. Suppose they come to power, BJP will not come, take it from me. They will come to power in J&K assembly, UT. Okay, you have LG, you have so many, you have only law and order in your hands.
Yes.
Police under you. Other politics you are not. LG, na? You are supposed to ask LG. Kejriwal never asked LG. So what? He is running the third term. So these fellows will not ask you. What will you do? You do whatever. Now this elected assembly passes a resolution in the assembly. Democratic process hai, remember. Restoration of Article 370, nullifying domicile law, and restoration of Article 35A. हो गया ना, resolution pass हो गया, it becomes a news worldwide. It goes to UN, it goes to US, UK, Pakistan, Muslim world. Now what? Cat is out of the bag. You dismiss assembly, you imprison them. But what the message conveyed is the democratically elected assembly by the people of UT of J&K are asking for restoration of Article 37, 35A and negation of domicile law. That is what will matter.
Before the separation of Andhra and Telangana, there was a resolution passed in United Andhra Assembly that partition is not accepted, and it has been sent to the central. Who cared that paper? They have just thrown it into the dustbin. And
ठीक है यार, let them also throw it. See, Andhra Pradesh or Telangana, the difference between other states and these states like Jammu and Kashmir, Northeast, Punjab, is that they have contiguous border with Pakistan, China. So that is a lot of difference when you come to geopolitics.
Geopolitics, that's it. But
No, they will get support.
But law-wise, both are same.
No,
Legally, both
law,
are same.
Politics doesn't. Politics cares about law. Legal. What is
Just-
legal?
just a
They will
comparison.
define legal, bhai.
When you said that it will be a
Politics will define social conduct. Politics will define what is religion. Politics will define what is legal. Politics will define what is politics. When Sri N.T. Rama Rao said pride of Telugus, what legal, bhai? What cadre he had? You swept or not? Yes. First time. And I made a comment, the first time in Indian politics, a man is born who defeated this man of Indian politics, Srimati Indira Gandhi. This is politics.
Good.
So once they pass, you do anything, you arrest them, dissolve, but the message has gone
Yes, issue has
loud and
issue is
clear.
good, issue is good.
And now again it will be trumpeted. And again you have to go and defend. How much will you defend? Politically you have become weak. You have to again reframe your
entire process.
Defense and project. You can't arrest everybody.
Yes.
So BJP has to think about these things and bring in, they have to come clean on Kashmir. As I told you, they have to conduct debates. Otherwise it's not possible.
And one more trump card they wanted to use is recently Rajnath Singh has announced that we are going to have POK back. Is it really possible?
I'll tell you. Forget about that. I'll tell you possible or not possible. But why do you think Nehruji agreed to Mountbatten's decision to take to UN and declare ceasefire? At what point of time? What was the region? That region is a tribal region. It's a very beautiful region. Very beautiful. And none of the people in that region speak Kashmiri.
Okay.
They are tribesmen, very decent people, not to say they are not. Nobody could ever control them. Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah had no control on them. Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah was for division of Kashmir between India and Pakistan. He didn't object to it. Sheikh Abdullah did not have any influence even the Muslims of Jammu region who were part of Muslim conference. He was national conference. So the point is, when Nehruji declared ceasefire, he kept this part aside, which could not be controlled, and in which Sheikh Abdullah had no leverage with them. So how does he administer? That is one thing I have read. Consumed their minds, those leadership. So he declared a ceasefire. Now, Indira Gandhi, 1971 war, she conquered that Dara, and in which our soldiers lost many lives, but they conquered Hajipir Dara in 1971. Why did she give it back? Why did she give POK back? Oh, pagal thi kya? Idiot she was. She didn't have brains. But the lady who could stand up to President Nixon, all right, she had backing of USSR, that is fine. But ultimately you have to take a decision. Na? USSR will not fight war for you. Much more brilliance than all these today's politicians put together. Let nobody have any doubt on that.
For sure. Yes.
Why did he give it back? वो totally Muslim majority है.
POK.
तुमको already headache है J&K में.
So intentionally.
Yeah, it become much more Muslim dominant. भाई क्या करोगे उसके बाद?
But why was he telling that it will get back?
एक minute, I am coming to it. If you had to get back, you could have done in Kargil war. You think Indira Gandhi ji didn't want to get it back? In 1965, you think Shastri ji could not have gone beyond Chugal Canal to capture Lahore? Why did he stop? Why did he stop? And that was a brilliant move to stop these lunatics of Pakistan from crossing over to Jammu. The point here is, in today's situation, India has been always saying it is our part, it is our integral part of India, so anything happens there is not acceptable. That is fine, that is diplomatic this thing that they have to do. But the main point is, right in 50s, I think, or 60s, Pakistan ceded a part of POK, what we call POK, to China.
Yes.
In that agreement, it is written that whatever developments China may do, ultimately to whichever country this territory goes, this will belong to them, that country.
Yeah.
Some 1 or 1.5 years ago, Chinese have said, we don't care. We are doing development.
Yes.
Whoever this territory comes to, it is there.
Take it.
No, it's a very lot of import in the political. It's a political statement. We don't care. Matlab kya hai? Now, how India can capture POK? How many $1 billion Chinese have invested?
Yes.
22 billion, if I am not wrong, and the total target is 65 billion. India has refused to be a part of CPEC, rightly so, because then they acknowledge that POK is not their part.
Yeah.
You know? Now, do you think India will attack POK or get POK when Chinese have invested 22 billion and you are standing up to China on Doklam, on eastern Ladakh? It's remarkable the way Indians have stood up to Chinese.
Yes.
That is hats off to Indian government,
Indian Army.
Modi ji's and his team's planning and all that. It's remarkable the way they have built infrastructure, and they have really countered them and made them withdraw from any post, whatever others may say, nonsense one may speak. That's what I'm saying. Only Modi ji and his team knows what it is like in Ladakh. I do not know. So I have no business to criticize.
Yes.
I can only say
Opinion.
doubt whether is it right, will this happen, apprehensions. Now here, India can never attack POK. Why does it says it is my partner? Why doesn't it bombard the facilities created by Chinese? You did surgical strikes, huh? And what did you say? It is my territory. Did anybody question? No. Nobody questioned. Yes, it is your territory. Then this is also your territory. You should do surgical strike, finish up those developments. Why aren't you doing it? He is sitting there.
Yes.
You are countering brilliantly. No questions on that. But he is there. Quad mein hai India. Why India is not going whole hog? Whatever US may say, okay, South China Sea and all that, fine. But who will come to India's rescue if there is a full-fledged war against China? Who will? India has to fight, na?
Yes.
With all its strengths, might.
All, that's all.
India. That is first thing. Second thing is, India can take POK only if there is an understanding reached between India and China that we will take this and we will pay you $22 billion or whatever.
Negotiate.
And we will participate with you in the CPEC because then it will be our part. If you don't intervene, they can enter through Neelam Valley.
Yes.
Straight away, it's a day's time, cross the Neelam River, which is hardly anything. It's a beautiful river. And a sky blue water is there. It's a lovely landscape, that what you call Azad Kashmir POK. Much more beautiful than what we talk about our Kashmir.
Kashmir.
You need to have a pact with China because China has already said we don't care to whichever country this territory
That's
goes.
all.
He has given you a hint. That means India is in some kind of negotiation with China on POK. Otherwise, Rajnath Singh ji will not make this kind of a statement. Definitely India cannot attack POK and take it by force. Chinese have to defend there. Already in floods, most of things has been ruined. But Chinese will not allow you to damage their infrastructure by their investment. It will attack. So my understanding is the fact that our defense minister, others to forget, others are very pygmies. He has been making a statement. That means something must be going on between India and China vis-a-vis POK, where India may offer, "Theek hai bhai, it is our property anyway, you also know. You know real status in US." And UN has said it is not our prerogative. It is, Kashmir problem is not our issue now. 3 times, 3 different Secretary Generals have said that
Yes.
to Pakistan nonsense. So if China agrees, you don't intervene, we will occupy and we will cooperate with the CPEC and we will repay your investment.
Investment.
And we are capable of doing that. Our economy is growing and together our economy will grow. But don't intervene. If China agrees to that, but then on Ladakh border, see the China may say then you do some concession on Ladakh border.
Negotiations.
So it is a very complicated process. See, something might be brewing. Something must have given confidence to our defense minister. See, such statements are very sensitive. It is not like election rally. They are very sensitive statements. And if they are made, that means there is some substance in that and there something is going on behind the scenes, which a common man like you and me will never know. Even the so-called political commentators will not know. In spite of the tension between India and China, there is a $150 billion trade going on. In fact, it has increased.
Yes. So POK is still a
No, you never know.
no.
The point is,
Wait and watch.
yeah. See, you may say, I will pay, I will occupy, I will cooperate with you, we will together develop CPEC. China will say, for example, okay, fine. Because China is not a bedmate of Pakistan.
Yes.
They are no permanent friends.
Money, that's all.
Obviously,
They are
yes, they have sunk $22 billion and they have realized few things. Okay, on Ladakh front, eastern front, Arunachal, you will have to make some concessions.
Yes, sir. Some
So that may lead to a bigger agreement that will bring peace.
Yes, that is true.
So you never know. But
Yes,
I am thinking that there is some substance in what Rajnath Singh ji is saying. That means something is going on. Or maybe they are negotiating with Pakistan. Where you are not able to handle this, you give it to us. We will handle it. We will develop it. It's our part anyway. You have lost the case. You have defaulted on UN. Nobody is hearing you. Even OIC is not hearing you. Let us have it. Then suppose India gets, the bigger question is, suppose India gets POK. How will she administrate? Will it be a part of J&K UN territory? My guess is no. My guess is that if and when, or if at all, POK becomes a part of India, it will be a separate union territory.
Again, one more union.
It will be. And they may give it special status in the formative year. This is my guess.
So the first one only gets confirmed, not the second one.
It definitely will not be merged with UT of J&K because that will be catastrophic.
Yes. Sir, coming to one more interesting topic, what we are hearing of late is Ghazwa 2047. PFI, a lot of people are trained, some arrests have been made. What do you see scenario of this Ghazwa 2047?
You see, if you have to understand Islam, then first of all you must read
That's right.
the Holy Quran, Sirat Rasulullah, the life of Prophet Muhammad, and their hadith, say Sahih Bukhari or Muslim. Prophet Muhammad, in my opinion, was a very brilliant mind, very brilliant political mind. And Islam has a political content in it. It is not only, it is social, it is about economical, it is about jurisprudence. Okay, you may agree or you may disagree, that's a different thing. There are rights of men, there are rights of women, and all that is there. It is very well documented in the sense that how a society should be run as per the command of Allah, which is the Holy Quran.
Yes.
Okay. Like you can say Manu Smriti in those days.
Yeah.
Have you read Manu Smriti?
Yeah, little.
I have read. It's a brilliant document, and the abuses that he gets are not warranted. Anyway, leave it there. So now Islam has a political ideology also. What is that political ideology? That there should be established Sharia rule across the world. That means Muslim conquest should be there, and each and almost every individual belonging to different religions should be made to adopt Islam by force, by persuasion, or by whatever.
Yes.
If not, slaughter. This is very clearly documented. It is not my words.
Yes.
And I have no problem with that. That is the political philosophy of those times. I mean, the fact that that led to Muslims ruling this almost 3/4 of globe for 1200 years in the Ottoman Empire, there must be something in that.
Yes.
So how can I criticize that? Now the problem starts with the breakup of Ottoman Empire. That you have to understand. Even the partition of India, you can relate to that, breakup of Ottoman Empire. See, until Ottoman Empire was in place, Islam was never in danger. They say, na, Islam khatre mein hai. What does it mean? That the Islamic rule is non-existent or is going to be non-existent. Islamic rule, Sharia. When Sharia rule disappears, Islam is unsafe, is insecure. It has to be protected. That means what? You have to reimpose Sharia rule. This is the philosophy. You may agree, you may disagree, but this is the philosophy. I accept it, this philosophy. Okay. So Khilafat movement in India, how they made fool of Gandhiji, these Muslims, leadership. Gandhiji wanted to enforce Hindu-Muslim unity because he had realized, by his statement also you can come to know, that India's independence would have no meaning unless there is a emotional connect established between Hindus and Muslims. And his statements have come true. Nobody can deny that, whatever these so-called great people may say. They are even abusing Gandhiji today. Anyway, that is their choice. Khilafat movement, Muslims were not coming along with Hindus to fight against British or to forge a unity. They had come together to tell British Crown that Ottoman Empire should continue to be. Okay, it cannot be in World War I, then at least caliphate should be allowed to exist in Turkey. That also didn't happen. This Khilafat movement, no Muslim world, no country objected to fall of Ottoman Empire except Indian Muslims. Because they relate themselves more to Turkey, Afghans, Pathans, Central Asia. They don't identify themselves with native Indian culture, Indian heritage. They don't.
Yes.
They think they are outsiders. That's why they say we have ruled you. If you see recent public speech of AIMIM's unit head of UP, which media televised, it is terrible. The fact that he is still roaming free shows the importance of our home ministry. I am telling you, it is terrible. So, but why is he? What motivates him is this philosophy of Sharia. This keep in mind. Now, when that also did not survive caliphate, they engineered Mopla rights in Kerala. They slaughtered Hindus.
Yes.
And when Gandhiji was asked, you know what he replied? Quote unquote is, Muslims have acted according to their religion. That was Gandhiji here. The so-called Deshbhaktas, do you have the courage to make that statement? Even today, in a democratic India. That is the difference, the metal, the substance difference between those leaders and today what we have. He said that. How factual he was. Caliphate is gone. What Islam says, you have to establish Sharia. You can't be ruled by infidels. You have to rule over infidels. That's a political philosophy. So Pakistan was created very clearly on that basis. It was publicly stated.
Yes.
Mr. Jinnah says that in his Lahore Declaration of 1940.
Yeah, documented.
And the great poet Iqbal, who once wrote Sare Jahan se Acha Hindustan Hamara, became the brightest and the biggest ideologue of Pakistan.
Later on.
This shows the character. This is called opportunism. So Pakistan was created. People, the Maulvis, Maulanas, the Muslim leadership which created Pakistan stayed back in India, in UP and Bihar. This is a known fact. They did not migrate.
Yes.
Why? The aim was to establish Sharia rule in India. The first education minister of India, Abdul Kalam Azad, he is on record, he's written a book during Khilafat. He was the biggest advocate of Khilafat movement. And he has made a statement that India is not a pious place for Muslims to live. Therefore, Muslims should migrate to Afghanistan. 50,000 Muslims from India, gullibles, these poor fellows.
Yes, yes.
He himself did not. His mother was of Turkish origin, so he thought he was a Turk. And his mission was Sharia. And he clearly said that India is not a pious place for Muslims to live. So 50,000 Muslims started migrating to Afghanistan in those days. Afghan people, during the Khilafat movement, they invited Afghans to attack India, and they will jointly fight British, oust them out, and establish Sharia rule in India. This you must remember. So when that did not happen, they asked for Pakistan. Now this fellow, 50,000 went to Afghanistan. Afghanistan accepted only 10,000. 40,000 came back in their harsh weather conditions on foot. Most of them were killed on the way. This is the contribution of our first education minister, Maulana Abdul Kalam.
Maulana Azad.
Maulana is very important. Abdul Kalam Azad, he was made first education minister of India. So he Mughals as the most noble.
All syllabuses are
Our
filled with.
tragedy is that our leadership that time, they maintained in the name of heritage, in the name of history, all those signboards in their name, Akbar Road, Jahangir Road. I'm not criticizing it. See, you are at much higher plane than these pygmies whose mindset is so narrow that they can think only about religion. It's a statesmanship that, okay, this is my history. Okay, let them, how does it matter? I have to now run my country. I have to make my country. So this was the aim. Now what happens? So they have been consistently working on it. Don't lose sight of that. And communists have been helping them. Communist political ideology and Islam's political ideology is same. Now, When Bangladesh happened, they got more enthusiastic about it. I told you, na, whatever Muslim leaders in India, other than Kashmir, speak in the rallies, that affects Kashmiri Muslim's mind.
Automatic.
Because he is a Muslim.
Yes.
So they started working on it. And the electoral politics being such that every Muslim was being quoted, everybody looked the other way for what all Muslims were doing. They looked the other way. Then came this Khoon ka Maut ka Saudagar, as Madam Sonia Gandhi described Modi ji as. Maut ka Saudagar came 8 years ago. There has not been a single riot. The Delhi riot was engineered by Kejriwal.
Yes, that was
At a time when Trump was to come. That is Kejriwal. And Muslims were put in their spot. But also all the amenities, all the help like Swachh Bharat and toilets, house building, assistance, monetary
schemes, all schemes.
In irrespective of religion, he provided, and Muslims also acknowledge that. And ordinary Muslim acknowledges that. You have to differentiate between ordinary Muslims who sells pakodas on this or vegetable from these Maulana, Maulvis and these Muslim politicians who do nothing but to create unrest in the Indian society.
That is proved. UP got majority even in Muslim areas.
Again, but he got less majority than previous time because they had raised the issue of hijab. So Muslims don't vote unless they see their benefit in that, and that is fine. Now what is Ghazwa first of all? Ghazwa is basically only those raids which were conducted under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad. No raid by Muslims to conquer other regions can be called Ghazwa after Prophet Muhammad was gone, no more. So none of them are Ghazwa. This is not me speaking. This is the truth of Islam.
History.
Ghazwa means raids conducted by Prophet Muhammad with his army, whereby he conquered many things, he converted many. Fine, that was his political ideology. I have nothing to say on that. The basic philosophy, even if you remove this Ghazwa part, the basic philosophy is that there will not be Qayamat ka Roz. That means the deluge. There is a creation and then there is dissolution. Dissolution will never occur until Sharia rule is established across the world. That is the underlining political thought, political-religious thought. Now, what is the temptation? Jannat.
Jannat.
See, that is his brilliance. He told his followers that you will have a rendezvous with Hurs of Jannat.
Yes.
And the afterlife is much more lucrative, much more
attractive
than the life. See, that is how he articulated.
Yes.
And he ruled, Islam ruled for 1200 years. That's not a joke. That even motivates these Muslims today. They are in urge to have dissolution. Qayamat ke roz, it has to come. And it cannot come, this many Muslim political commentators I have heard saying. And it cannot come unless and until Sharia is established across the world. UK is in a very bad shape. Europe, Germany, you read their websites. I have read their reports from their researchers, German and UK. It's terrible. You see the websites of Muslims where they Sharia and all that. I mean, they are on the brink. So this is the plan. India is an easy spot because every politician wants to win an election. So everybody wants to win elections, and they know that Muslim votes matter in certain things to win an election, to get some majority in state or in parliament. They matter. They make. So they look the other way. Now came this Modi. You see, NIA was not so much activated as it became in Modi's regime. Before Sonia Gandhi's regime, when Sonia Gandhi's regime was in vogue for 10 years, every other day there used to be bomb blasts in India. In Koti also it happened.
Yes.
Every other day. Kashmir mein to tha hi tha. And you would never hear name of NIA. Only once NIA captured one Muslim who was crossing from Nepal over to India, where he was not supposed to cross, some other route was there. They arrested him, and this lady got him released. NIA got activated only under Modi ji's regime, and bomb blasts across the country have stopped. That means what? He is planning, he has a strategy, and he has been successful in that. In Gujarat also, after 2002, there have been no riots. Recently some put happened.
Small things.
These people are not liking who? This our great leaders, Muslim political leaders, and their Dadiwala, Maulvis, Maulanas. They are not like. So you will find them opposing Modi, even Congress. Why?
Secular.
Because no, that was the political leaning of communists and Sonia Gandhi. So one fine morning in Bihar, coalition government of JDU and BJP. What was BJP doing? BJP cannot say that BJP was not the chief minister. What nonsense is? You are a part of the government, and they have trained 15,000 cadres for Ghazwa-e-Hind 2047, and you are ignorant about it. And on some tip, NIA bloody gets activated, and you start blaming. So Ghazwa is that they are publicly saying we are 20%, 22% now. By 2050 will be 35%. Tab hum inko maza chakhayenge. We will teach them a lesson. You must read that. You see that video of UP chief of AIMIM. You can get on the Google. YouTube you will get. He is roaming free. His brother Akbaruddin Owaisi, when he says give me 15 minutes, there were 30 or more witnesses against him. Court
left him.
Why? All compromised. Why? It's all compromised. So, if Modi ji and his successors do not play a system in place which inhibits such anti-national activities, it is not going to stop. How many will you arrest?
Thank you, Mr. Kaul, for all your time.
Thanks.
And we are very fortunate to hear from the horse mouth what is the past, present, and how the future is going to be. Thank you for your valuable days. We'll be having some more sessions like this to make the public aware what are the facts happened and what is going to be the future. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on your channel. Thanks a lot. I am privileged to be here with you, TeluguOne.com.
Thank you very much. Namaste.